Chapter 648. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Young Lord, the Sixth King is one of Night Moon's most powerful combatants. He's known as the heretic King xianxia in the Grand Clarity domain. Now that he's back, it won't be a problem unless it's a saint or an invincible venerable. Yiling Lan said excitedly. You're right. Yiling Lan said excitedly. This is a good sign. I wonder what news Sixth Uncle will bring back. Night Sorrow's mind was somewhat unsteady, and he couldn't calm down as he paced back and forth. Night Sorrow, calm down. Didn't Sixth Uncle say that Uncle and Auntie are still alive? They're just injured. It's not a big problem. Yang Lei pulled Night Sorrow to sit down and said. Night Sorrow nodded, took out a jar of wine and drank 2 mouthfuls. Xianxia said, the Yi clan is going all out. The day they come out, the battle prowess of a saint with spatial attributes will definitely be astonishing. The Taiching domain will be bathed in blood. Whoever committed the sins back then will have to pay for them. Wait. Night Sorrow, calm down and wait. The Night Sorrow knows about the current situation and should have made some decisions. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, Alright, you two make some side dishes. We want to drink some wine. Yang Lei said to the 2 maidservants. Then Yang Lei, Xianxia and Aoi accompanied Night Sorrow for a drink. Then, Night Sorrow brought Tianyu to the edge of the lake to practice his movement technique. Anyone would be under a lot of pressure. He hasn't felt the warmth of a family for so many years. His parents are just 2 words to him and they're nothing, Aoi said. Night Sorrow began to cultivate by the lake, fusing his movement technique, spear technique and palm technique together. Yang Lei and the others didn't disturb Night Sorrow. They knew that Night Sorrow needed some peace and quiet. Every day Yang Lei and Xianxia would go to the god-slaying squad's training ground to cultivate with the others. The main reason was that they didn't want to leave the squad. Qingji also came to cultivate every day. She was motivated by the others, which gave her the motivation to cultivate. Seeing Aoi cultivate in Aoi's realm made Linglong, Xuanhuan and the others very envious. This realm was too rare. Xuanhuan was at this realm now, but his mastery wasn't as deep as Aoi, let alone Linglong. The 2 asked Aoi for advice but she didn't know what to say. Yang Lei then told them about Aoi's situation. Xuanhuan and Linglong felt helpless because they couldn't learn from Aoi. 9th Senior Sister, why don't we talk to Captain and let 6th Senior Sister join our god-slaying squad? Jian said. I can't do that because 6th Senior Sister almost never participates in any battles. 6th Senior Sister is a rank 5 cultivator, but you can ask her if she has ever killed a human or even a demonic beast before, Yang Lei said with a smile. 6th Senior Sister, you've reached rank 5 and haven't killed a human or a demonic beast before? Xueling looked at Aoi in surprise. Other than sparring, I've only fought once. When I was sending 13 home, I met the enemy who killed my 12th junior brother. But she was the one who killed him. Aoi pointed at Yang Lei embarrassedly. Goddess? She's really an otherworldly goddess. I'm really impressed, Linglong said as she rubbed her forehead. Don't worry, I can help you guys refine pills, brew wine or something like that, Aoi said with a smile. You guys don't know, but the good wine that Night Sorrow brought out was all brewed by 6th Senior Sister, Yang Lei said proudly as she pulled Aoi's arm. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation 9th Senior Sister. Can 6th Senior Sister really join our god-slaying squad? Not everyone in the god-slaying squad is a combat member. I really like 6th Senior Sister, Nanliua said. You'll have to ask Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow respects 6th Senior Sister very much and doesn't want 6th Senior Sister to be wronged. Let's wait for Night Sorrow to come back first, Yang Lei said with a smile. At the mention of Night Sorrow, the others were speechless. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow was currently cultivating by the lake at the foot of Sky City. Half a month later, Yilingxia returned. When he heard that Night Sorrow was cultivating under the lake, he went directly to the lake. At this time, Night Sorrow was using the space attribute to increase his speed and displayed his spear skills. Yilingxia could only see his shadow and hear the sound of air being torn apart. This shocked him because even supremacies weren't as fast as Night Sorrow. Noticing Yilingxia's arrival, Night Sorrow stopped cultivating. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and walked up to Yilingxia. 6th Uncle, is there any news about my parents? There is. It's all good news. Let's go back and talk about it. You've been cultivating for half a month. Don't you know how to take care of yourself? Yilingxia said and flew towards Sky City. Night Sorrow called out to Tianyu and followed closely behind. When Night Sorrow and Yilingxia returned to the mansion, Aoi, Yang Lei, and Xuanhuan had already finished brewing tea. Yi Linglan had also come over. Sit down, sit down. Let's talk slowly. Yi Lingxia waved his hand at Night Sorrow. Then Yi Lingxia told him about the current situation of Night Moon Sea's Yi clan. Prince Wuyo's injuries had already healed. However, his life source had been damaged in the battle back then. He still had 100 years of lifespan left. In addition, young concubine Wuyo was also doing well. 10 years ago, she had given birth to a daughter named Xianxiao. Hearing the name Xianxiao, Night Sorrow's eyes moistened. He knew that in his parents' hearts he was Yi Xiaoxiao. It's good that they're safe. As long as they're safe. Night Sorrow muttered softly. However, the family wants us to stabilize the situation first. No saints in the family can leave the Night Moon Sea. In addition, it'll be difficult for them to take revenge. There are some things you might not know. Back then, the Tianfeng dynasty sent out a saint to ambush us. They heavily injured brother Linghuan and several imperial uncles. After 2 imperial uncles retreated with their clansmen, they died from their injuries. Yi Lingxia's voice was somewhat low because this was the death of the Night Moon. If no saints come out, how long do we have to wait? Xuanhuan was somewhat anxious. If the experts of the Night Moon dynasty didn't come out, Night Sorrow's side would be under a lot of pressure. I'll hold on. As long as I don't fall, I won't let the Night Moon dynasty get hurt again. My parents are fine and I still have my sister. I can fight without any worries. Night Sorrow exhaled. Calm down. There are many 5th-generation members of the Night Moon dynasty, but they're not direct descendants. If their bloodline isn't pure enough, they won't be able to cultivate the spatial rend. You're the only direct descendant of the Night Moon dynasty's 5th generation, the only young master of the Night Moon dynasty. How can you not pay attention to your own safety? Besides, you still have them. A man must be responsible. Dying is actually easy, but sometimes living is difficult. Didn't I also endure it? Yi Lingxia slammed the table and said, "Thank you for your reminder, uncle." Night Sorrow looked somewhat apologetically at Yang Lei and Xuanhuan. He knew that his words just now were somewhat irresponsible. Brother Linghuan is already a half-step saint. It's just that he was too heavily injured to recover, so he's only half a step away from becoming a saint. The other imperial uncles and brother Linghuan are much weaker. Nephew Wuyu originally also had a chance, but if his body's problem isn't solved, it's all talk. Yi Lingxia sighed. If there's a problem, then solve it. There's nothing impossible. Xuanhuan said. Chapter 649. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You need resources? That's easy. What do you need? Night Sorrow asked directly when he heard this topic. Q head and hair, you need treasures to replenish life force. Brother Linghuan, Imperial Uncle Xianxian, and Imperial Aunt Xinyu all need them. Even Prince Wuyu needs them. Cultivation resources are also in short supply. Back then, the Night Clan took away most of the resources, but the elders of the clan were reluctant to use them. They used them all to nurture the younger generation of the Night Clan, Yi Lingxia said helplessly. I can solve this problem. There is no better treasure than life spirit fluid and life crystals to replenish life force and repair life source. High-level cultivators use top-grade spirit stones and top-grade spirit stones. I have both, Night Sorrow said excitedly. To be able to help the Night Moon dynasty, help his ancestors, and heal his father, Night Sorrow didn't feel bad about the resources. Instead, he was very excited. Everything he had accumulated in the past could finally be put to good use. You really have them? Yi Lingxia was also excited. If Night Sorrow said these things, then the return of the Night Moon clan would be much earlier. Here are 5 bottles of life spirit liquid. Here are 30 life crystals. Here are 200 top-grade spirit stones. This storage ring is filled with high-grade spirit stones. Yishan took out a bunch of resources in one go. The heavens bless the Night Moon. The heavens really bless the Night Moon. I don't need that much. Let me count. There are 30 drops in one bottle. 2 bottles of life spirit fluid should be enough. Yi Lingxia looked at the bottles of life spirit fluid. 6th uncle, don't worry about me. Take enough, Night Sorrow said. 2 bottles are enough. Since you have life spirit fluid, give nephew Wuyu a few life crystals. Top-grade spirit stones can only be used by peak venerables, half-saints, and saints. 6th uncle, take half. As for the top-grade spirit stones, 6th uncle, take all the top-grade spirit stones. I still have some. Night Sorrow interrupted Yi Lingxia's calculations. Good. With these resources, the Night Moon clan will rise without obstacles. Our clan members with old injuries can also recover. Xianxia was excited. His hands trembled as he held the resources. The upper echelons of the Yi clan brought their juniors and retreated to a certain region of Night Moon Sea. After a discussion, they decided to leave the lightly injured Xianxia outside to gather information and gather resources. But after so many years, the resources that Xianxia had gathered were limited. Now that Yi Shang had directly solved the problem, how could he not be excited? Injured? Then I have the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid here. Not only is it effective for healing, but it is also very effective in assisting cultivation. It is even more effective than high-grade spirit stones. Yi Shang took out the wine jug that contained the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid. Controlling his emotions, Xianxia opened the wine jug and glanced inside before looking at Yi Shang. You prodigal child, you actually used a wine jug to store such a precious treasure. Give sixth uncle a third of it. Aoi helped Night Sorrow fill the cauldron of life spirit fluid and gave it to Xianxia. Night Sorrow, you've solved the Night Moon clan's problem. Sixth uncle can't thank you because you're the young master of the Night Moon clan. But I'm really excited, Xianxia said after receiving the resources. Because I'm from the Night Moon clan, I should do this. I look forward to the Night Moon clan's rise, Night Sorrow said. Also, the clan already knows about your situation. They ordered me to take good care of you and stabilize the current situation. I think that nephew Wuyo and niece-in-law should be very happy to hear that you're well. The Night clan is also very happy. The Night clan's direct line of descendants is a big deal. It's always been a worry for everyone. For many years, the Night clan's lack of direct descendants has been a big problem. This time, you should be able to change it, Xianxia said as he looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Uncle Night Sorrow didn't know what to say. Alright, I have to send these resources back as soon as possible. This is the clan's biggest problem. Once it's solved, we won't have to worry anymore. Xianxia nodded at Night Sorrow and left. He couldn't wait to shove the resources into the hands of his clansmen. 13. Did you lose a lot of resources this time? Yang Lei asked with a smile. She wanted to change the topic to make Night Sorrow feel more relaxed. No. You all know that I don't use spirit stones for cultivation. It's fine as long as I have enough resources. I can still handle this level of resources. In fact, the only thing useful to me is the life essence. Spirit stones and cauldron spirit elixirs are nothing, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's cultivation could be supported by his soul power, chi, and bloodline talent. The pagoda of time and space could help him. He could still continue. However, the cultivation of the myriad Daosh treasured tome was more troublesome. Currently, Night Sorrow was using the black tortoise crystal. This was the 5th stage of the Dao querying realm and the 6th stage of the spirit refinement realm. Night Sorrow had also prepared the resources. The blood tortoise crystal could help, but Night Sorrow had a higher goal. The 7th stage of the myriad Daosh treasured tome was not the end. He still had to cultivate after the 7th stage. However, he didn't have any supplementary resources. Night Sorrow was saving the life essence for backup. You're really different. You're ruthless. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, Hehe, I still have what you need. What I have is yours, right? 6th senior sister, if you need anything just tell me, Night Sorrow said. Sure. You're my junior brother. I won't stand on ceremony with you. Always smiled at Night Sorrow. I forgot to ask 6th granduncle to bring some elixirs back, Night Sorrow said. There's no hurry. It won't be too late to give them to 6th granduncle when he comes back, Sikong Chuyu said. Also, with 6th granduncle around, our engagement ceremony can go on. When 6th granduncle comes back and stabilizes things here, I'll tell him to help me make a trip, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's right. With 6th granduncle and Father Gu, it's totally possible, Yang Lei said. Right now, Yi Shang's heart was very relaxed because his parents were safe. All that was left was to fight, and the thing that Yi Shang was least afraid of was fighting. Night Sorrow, you're relaxed now. You have to take care of your body in the future. Don't work so hard. Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Seeing Night Sorrow cultivate so hard every day, Sikong Chiyu's heart ached. I know. My cultivation has been rising a little fast recently. I have to stabilize it. If I want to break through to the supremacy realm, I have to stabilize it. Night Sorrow nodded. He did not want to have an unstable foundation. Yes, it's best to stabilize it. A solid foundation will be of great help in the future. Aoi nodded. I'll ask Xuanhuan. If there are any suitable cities, we'll go and destroy 2 more. This way they'll be suspicious and want to defend themselves. They won't care about Night Moon City. Night Sorrow planned to go out and kill. That's fine, but we still have to be stable. The news must be accurate. We can't be tricked, xianxia said. Chapter 650. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's a good idea. The Jianghu family shouldn't be as vigilant as the other dynasties. The other dynasties have been frightened by us, so their defenses must be tight. On the other hand, the Jianghu family should be more relaxed. Yang Lei agreed with Knight Sorrow's opinion. Then Knight Sorrow went to communicate with Xuanhuan. Those shameless people. I've scouted a few cities. In the taverns and inns near the city lord's mansion, there are cultivators with cultivation bases that I can't see. If I can't find them, then I must have hit a nail on the head. Xuanhuan told him about the recent situation. These days Xuanhuan had been going out to scout, but he couldn't make a move even after scouting many cities. This made him very angry. He was looking forward to fighting, but he couldn't fight in this situation. Then let's change targets. You go scout the cities of the Sky Pillar family in the Sky Pillar region. We can do it there too. Knight Sorrow expressed his thoughts. Okay, I'll go scout now. Once I'm done we'll kill. Xuanhuan got up and left. His hands were itching for a fight. After Xuanhuan left, Knight Sorrow returned to the mansion and chatted with Yang Lei, xianxia and Aoi. Knight Sorrow was in high spirits because he knew that his parents were fine. There was no better news than this. As for his father, Yi Wuyo, the source of his body had been damaged, but with treasures like life spirit fluid and life crystals, he could recover. Love Gone Little Say W. Chual. Knight Sorrow was happy. Yang Lei and the others were also happy. They all knew that Knight Sorrow couldn't let go of his family. Now the news brought by xianxia couldn't be any better. In the evening they drank a little wine together. Then Knight Sorrow went to the lake below the city in the sky to cultivate. Since he did not lack realms, his cultivation would naturally increase. Knight Sorrow wanted to increase his combat strength. After cultivating for a while, Knight Sorrow had an idea. He wanted to try using the void air shield to replace the space air shield to see how fast it was. Knight Sorrow's body began to move as he activated his speed. After flashing around a few times, Knight Sorrow discovered a special situation. The space shield could cut through obstacles, but after the nothingness shield changed shape, the sharp nothingness shield's tip was able to melt away some of the obstacles. Dissolve all obstacles. Such an effect shocked Knight Sorrow. This ability was heaven-defying. Soon after, Knight Sorrow circulated his true chi and poured it into the reincarnation spear. Then he condensed his true chi into a point and shot it out. After shooting out the spear, Knight Sorrow discovered a change. A small empty area appeared in front of the spear tip. Everything was melted away, but the point was very small. This situation made Knight Sorrow understand that it wasn't that the nothingness attribute wasn't strong enough, but that his true chi wasn't condensed enough. If he condensed it to the extreme, the melting effect would occur. After understanding the characteristics of the nothingness attribute, Knight Sorrow was shocked. This meant that as long as he continued to cultivate, when the quality of his true chi reached a certain limit, he could form a nothingness shield and melt away all attacks that came close. This meant that the attack wouldn't touch his body. After stabilizing his emotions, Knight Sorrow continued to cultivate. Although the nothingness attribute was strong, it was still inferior to the space attribute in terms of speed. After all, the space attribute was the strength of speed. After cultivating for 2 days, Knight Sorrow felt that his speed and agility were no longer a problem. Then he returned to his mansion. K.O. New chapter number 1. There were only servants in the mansion. Yang Lei, xianxia and Aoi weren't there. Knight Sorrow smiled and walked towards the god-slaying squad's martial arts field. He guessed that the 3 of them were there. When he reached the martial arts field, Knight Sorrow saw that everyone was cultivating. Aoi was also cultivating with Ma Shizhuang and the others. Captain is here. Seeing Knight Sorrow arrive, everyone greeted him. 6th senior sister, you're also cultivating the formation combination? Knight Sorrow asked with a smile. It's quite interesting, so I'm practicing with everyone. Aoi smiled and nodded at Knight Sorrow. Captain, everyone wants to invite 6th senior sister to join our team. Ho Jian and Nan Liue walked over and said. It's not suitable. My 6th senior sister doesn't like to kill or participate in battles. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He didn't want Aoi to do something she didn't like. But cultivators have to fight, Linglong said. 6th senior sister has me as her junior brother. If she wants to kill someone, I'll do it for her. Knight Sorrow replied without hesitation. Captain, you've misunderstood me. Fighting isn't necessarily about killing people. We also have to fight to protect ourselves. Besides, our god-slaying squad isn't necessarily a combat member. We need people for logistics, planning, and so on. Isn't 6th senior sister good at alchemy? We can't expect you to do alchemy alone, Linglong said. 6th senior sister, what do you think? After hearing Linglong's words, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and looked at Aoi. He felt that Linglong's words made sense. Aoi wasn't willing to kill people, but she had to fight. After all, cultivators had to protect themselves. I quite like this squad. If you don't force me to kill people, it's fine. Aoi nodded at Night Sorrow. All right. Liu and Linglong, you guys make the arrangements. After hearing Aoi's words, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and made a decision. The members of the god-slaying squad practiced their battle techniques and joined attack formations. Night Sorrow meditated at the side. In the evening, Night Sorrow brought Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi back to the mansion. 6th senior sister, even if you join the god-slaying squad, just do what you like. If you don't want to fight, then don't fight, Night Sorrow said to Aoi, who was brewing tea. 6th senior sister understands. 6th senior sister is very touched by your words today. With a junior brother like you, 6th senior sister is content. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. What words? Night Sorrow thought for a moment but couldn't think of anything. It should be. If 6th senior sister wants to kill someone, I'll do it for her, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. She naturally knew that this sentence had touched Aoi the most. Yes, there is such a sentence. 6th senior sister is very content. Back then, eldest senior brother caught Chu Lingxiao and taught him a lesson. Eldest senior brother said that if anyone bullied me, he would teach them a lesson. Now, 13th junior brother is even more domineering than eldest senior brother, Aoi said as she wiped the corner of her eyes. Yang Lei patted Aoi's shoulder. They all love 6th senior sister. No one said that to me. Because you can do it. Besides, there are some things that you don't need to say. 13th junior brother will do it for you. Aoi looked at Yang Lei and said with a smile. After a night of cultivation, the few of them once again arrived at the martial arts practice grounds. At this time, Xuanhuan had returned. Captain, it's done. I went to Jianghu family's rebuilt Jianghu city to investigate. I think we can make a move. That's the origin of Jianghu family. If they suffer another heavy blow, they will suffer greatly, Xuanhuan said. Chapter 651. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. Night Sorrow then gathered his men. 6th senior sister, you don't have to go. Love go little say, Chu, all right. Aoi nodded. Let's go. Night Sorrow led the members of the god-slaying team to the teleportation array. After a few teleportations, the group arrived at Ji Royal City. Night Sorrow, who had arrived first, killed the guards of the Jianghu family's teleportation array without hesitation. Then the others teleported over one after another. 2 groups of people will guard the teleportation array. The rest of you, kill behind me. Remember, do not approach the City Lord's mansion without a long whistle. Night Sorrow rode the Xianyu toward the City Lord's mansion. Everyone hurry up. Don't be too far away from the captain. Also, don't hesitate to set fire to any new buildings. Burn all the high-rise buildings and extravagant buildings that don't seem to be privately owned. Ho Jian gave the order. Night Sorrow threw out torches from time to time. As long as there was a building that fired ballistae, Night Sorrow would throw his torch over. Moments later, Night Sorrow arrived at the City Lord's mansion. Behind him, flames filled the sky. Damn it, you piece of shit. Someone rushed out of the City Lord's mansion and roared at Night Sorrow with a face full of anger. He was Jiyu Yuandang, who had discovered that Night Sorrow had bought the St. Crystals in Qingtian City and wanted to kill him. Love, go little say, Chu, seeing you, I remember that you wanted to rob me of my treasure last time. Today I will rob you. Night Sorrow rushed toward Yuandang in a flash. Seeing Yuandang, Night Sorrow recalled Yuandang's hateful face. Now that he had the chance, of course he wanted to kill him. At this moment, Night Sorrow was moving extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was right in front of Jiyu and Yuandang, thrusting his samsara blade towards Yuandang's throat. Night Sorrow's speed made Yuandang's expression change drastically. He never thought that Night Sorrow would be so fast. His venerable binding was completely ineffective, so he could only wave his long sword to defend himself. Jiyu, who was only a 3rd grade venerable, was knocked back with a single spear strike. Night Sorrow unleashed his speed, and the reincarnation spear continuously struck Jiyu's body. Jiyu could only passively defend himself and couldn't even dodge. The battle went on for a while and no one intervened. Night Sorrow knew that there were no other experts here. He let out a long whistle and called for the members of the god-slaying team to attack the City Lord mansion. Hearing Night Sorrow's call, Xuanhuan and the others rushed over and started to attack the City Lord Mansion. They started to kill and set fire to the City Lord Mansion. Jiyu and Yuan Dang didn't know what to do. Even if they wanted to dodge Yishang and attack the others, they couldn't, because Yishang was way too fast. Yishang's constantly flashing body blocked Jiyu's way of retreating and attacking the others. When he felt that it was about time, Night Sorrow's Zhenqi burst out, and he performed the 7 stars brilliant moon spear art. He even controlled the energy to a single point. Yuan Dang couldn't dodge, so he could only wave his sword to defend himself. Without making any sound, Yuandang's long sword was broken by Night Sorrow's spear. This was because this was the melting effect of the void attribute. When Yuandang's Zhenqi was exhausted by the energy of Yuandang's long sword, Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Book's energy kept up. He continued to move forward and caught up with Yuan Dang, who was retreating, and directly thrust his spear into Yuandang's chest. As Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear burst out with the energy of the myriad Dao Book, Yuandang's internal organs and Dantian were all shattered. I can't accept this. Looking at Night Sorrow, Yuandang's eyes were filled with unwillingness. So what if you can't accept this? You wanted to rob me, so you're destined to die. Night Sorrow pulled out the reincarnation spear, then with a shake of his hand, he cut off Yuandang's finger that was wearing the storage ring, and took the storage ring in his hand. At this time, the other members of the god-slaying team quickly killed all the guards of the City Lord Mansion, emptied the warehouse and set fire to it. Next stop, Jiyu's ancestral land. Continue to kill along the way. Night Sorrow gave the order to the group of people. What happened next was even smoother. There was only one venerable in Jiyu's ancestral land, whose cultivation level was lower than Yuandang's. Naturally, he was killed by Night Sorrow. Then, the group of people emptied the newly sent resources of Jiyu's ancestral land, and set fire to the newly rebuilt ancestral land. This time they were even more ruthless. They directly burned down all the gardens and buildings of Jiyu's ancestral land. Ho Jian, Xueling, Yunhuang, you guys lead the team back. I'll dismantle the teleportation formation and cover the rear. After returning to the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow gave the order. Captain, you don't need me anymore? Ho Qingjie looked at Night Sorrow and asked. There's nothing else to do. I'll ride the Qianyu very quickly, so I'll be back soon. You guys can go now. Night Sorrow waved his hand at the group of people. After watching them teleport away, Night Sorrow looked at Ji Royal City, which was covered in flames. Night Sorrow knew that Ji Royal City was completely destroyed. It was useless for Jiyu's family to rebuild it. This was because no one was willing to come here. It was easy to be caught in the flames of war. Not to mention outsiders, even the members of Jiyu's family would reject Ji Royal City. After watching the members of the god-slaying team teleport away, Night Sorrow dismantled the teleportation formation. Then he rode the Qianyu and left as well. He flew toward the nearest strategic teleportation formation in Tianji Tower. If the others stayed behind to cover the rear, they could only use the traditional teleportation formation. However, Night Sorrow was different. He could use the Tianji Tower's strategic teleportation formation, which would save him a lot of time compared to the others. 2 days later, Night Sorrow arrived at the nearest strategic teleportation formation in Tianji Tower. He teleported to the Taiqing region base in Tianji Tower and then returned to the city in the sky. When Night Sorrow arrived at the martial arts practice field, the other members were cultivating. They were not worried about Night Sorrow. After all, if they were not particularly powerful venerables, they would not be able to threaten Night Sorrow's safety. You're really fast, Ling Long glanced at Night Sorrow and said. She guessed that Night Sorrow had used the strategic teleportation formation to return. Did anyone get hurt? Night Sorrow asked. No, not even minor injuries. Moreover, we seized a lot of resources. Here are the alchemy materials. Nan Liyue took out a storage ring. Give the materials to 6th Senior Sister in the future. 6th Senior Sister, you can refine them when you're free. Call me if you're too busy. Night Sorrow looked at Aoi and said. He wanted to find something for Aoi to do so that she could have a sense of belonging in the team. This would also allow everyone to recognize Aoi more. Okay, I'll do it then. Aoi nodded. Of course, she understood Night Sorrow's intention. I have to refine pills too. I have to prepare some resources for Night Moon, Night Sorrow said with a smile. He had obtained a lot of resources from Jiyu and Yuan Dang's storage ring. Jiyu's family did not expect Ji Royal City to suffer a second blow, so they invested a lot in rebuilding it. All the resources were in Jiyu and Yuan Dang's hands. Of course, they now belonged to Night Sorrow. Then, Night Sorrow went to a corner of the martial arts practice field and started refining pills. He wanted to turn all the materials he could refine into pills. This way, it would be easier to categorize them and he could use them whenever he wanted. Before leaving after refining for a day, Night Sorrow threw a few more storage rings to Nan Liyue. Everyone, if you don't have a storage ring, just give it to them. If you don't get one, don't worry. Everyone will have one. Captain is so domineering. Following Captain is like living a good life, Ho Jian said with a smile. Chapter 652. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow cultivated peacefully. Xuanhuan would sometimes go out to investigate if there were any suitable cities to attack. He was now addicted to robbing. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.ichuxs. On this day, Night Sorrow had just arrived at the martial arts arena when Xuanhuan returned. Captain, it's getting lively now. Jiyu's family is looking for you all over the world. The price for your arrest is the same as the other dynasties. Whatever. There's no difference between being wanted by one family and being wanted by several. Who knows who will feel the pain and who will feel the pain? Night Sorrow didn't care about this. However, almost all the cities of the major factions are guarded by mid-level venerables and above. It'll be very difficult to break in easily. Xuanhuan sighed. It doesn't matter. We don't have a time limit. We can fight whenever we want. If they have the ability, they can keep watching. Now that mid-level venerables are watching, when we become venerables, we'll let their high-level venerables watch. Let's see if they can defend. Night Sorrow smiled. Knowing that his parents were fine, Night Sorrow's mentality had some invisible changes. He became much calmer and more cheerful. Yes, Captain is right. Let them watch. As long as they can't, we'll go and hurt them. Ling Long clapped. You're not like a woman at all. Xuanhuan muttered. Actually, I'm very feminine, but not to you or the enemy. Do you understand? Ling Long glanced at Xuanhuan with disdain. While watching everyone cultivate, Night Sorrow sorted out his medicinal pills and gave Nan Liyue a few bottles of clear void pills. As for void pills, the god-slaying squad had enough in stock. Night Sorrow had just brought the girls back to the mansion when Xianxia arrived. Night Sorrow personally brewed a pot of tea for Xianxia. Sixth uncle, do you have any good news? It's all good news. The family has said that the date of your return will be brought forward by a large margin. Your parents have also urged this king to take good care of you. Ling Huan, Brother Wang has also sent word that you're not allowed to mess around. If you have the time, do research on a few direct descendants. After Xianxia finished speaking, he laughed to himself. I'm going to fight on the night moon, not give birth on the night moon. Night Sorrow was speechless. He didn't know why his family would issue such an order. You have to understand. They are afraid. You are Night Moon's only direct descendant of the 5th generation. Your descendants are Night Moon's direct descendants. How could the elders of the clan not be worried? Said Xianxia. I don't know how the direct descendants are divided. Could it be that I'm the only direct descendant of Night Moon's 5th generation? Night Sorrow said. It depends on your talent. You have to be able to use the true spatial rend. However, there aren't many Night Moon's direct descendants. Even the Emperor can do it, but the Prince's generation is far from it. The Prince's generation, which is the 4th generation, only has 2 people. Your father, Prince Wuyo, can do it. The other is Prince Wuemo, who can barely do it. Prince Wuemo used a secret technique to raise his power. What's the current status of your bloodline talent? After explaining the situation, Xianxia looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Speaking of this, I really need to discuss it with 6th uncle. All this time, my spatial rend was taught by Aunt Fei. It might be different from Night Moon's spatial rend. As for my bloodline talent, I've already activated the 5th one. The 6th one is even more difficult. Will take a long time. As for how long it will take, I can't say, said Night Sorrow. What did you say? Xianxia stood up, his eyes filled with shock. 6th uncle, is there something wrong with what I said? My Aunt Fei is Lord Golden Phoenix. She knows people from Night Moon, so she knows a little about spatial rend. Is there anything wrong with that? Night Sorrow also stood up. Not that. You're saying that your 6th bloodline talent hasn't been activated. That's it. Say it again. Xianxia shook his head, his eyes fixed on Night Sorrow. It's very difficult to activate the 6th bloodline talent. Does the family have a secret technique for this? Asked Night Sorrow. In the family, other than the Moon Empress, the other direct descendants only have 5 bloodline talent points. Even Brother Linghuan only has 5.5. If you ask this king how to activate the 6th bloodline talent point, How will this king answer you? Xianxia sat down, but his eyes were still fixed on Night Sorrow. Then after the 6th, I'll figure it out myself. Night Sorrow was just asking. He didn't hold much hope. After the 6th? You mean there's more? Xianxia's teacup trembled, spilling tea all over himself, but he didn't notice. Beneath my dragon bones there are 7 bloodline talent points. But activating them is very difficult. Right now, I'm just in a natural state of cultivation. Night Sorrow nodded. Xianxia stood up, his hands gripping Night Sorrow's arms. The Moon Empress only has 6 bloodline talent points, but you actually have 7. This is incredible. We have to inform the family. We have to inform the family. Also, this is something that only the few of us know about. Even if you beat us to death, we can't tell anyone else. This is a matter of life and death. The Moon Empress only has 6 bloodline talent points? Night Sorrow was shocked. He didn't understand what was going on. Let Granduncle check and confirm. Then report to the family. This is going to turn the heavens upside down. Xianxia was a peak venerable, but he still couldn't control his emotions. Then Xianxia used his bloodline talent to sense Night Sorrow's bloodline talent points. Then he nodded. Remember, you can't tell anyone else about this. With that, Xianxia left. He had to tell the family about this. It seems my situation is different from the other members of the family. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. You're more talented than the Moon Empress. This is an incredible matter. Yang Lei nodded. 13th junior brother, it's best to keep this a secret. Otherwise, the enemy will do anything to deal with you. I was a bit worried. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, I want to ask you something. The Night Moon dynasty has ruled the Grand Clarity domain for a long time. Why is it only the 5th generation? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. One you more? New, the hashtag fastest beyond E, that's not how it's calculated. Some sects and forces count the generations according to their most outstanding members. The Moon Emperor is the most outstanding, so his children are naturally the 2nd generation. They have nothing to do with the previous generation. Of course, such iconic figures have to be outstanding. Other sects and forces count the living members as the 1st generation. In short, it's not the same. Sikong Chuyu explained to Yi Shang. I understand now. Right now, we have to work hard to increase our strength. The most important thing is to turn potential into strength. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 653. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. In the mansion of Jiyu family in Qingtian City, Jiyu Haitian was so angry that he smashed the main hall of the family. He simply couldn't control his anger. Ji Royal City was destroyed once again, completely destroyed. There was no need to rebuild it. The cost of rebuilding it was even more expensive than building a new city. However, this wasn't what made Jiyu Haitian angry the most. What made him most angry was that Jiyu Fenglan had disappeared. He had asked around and found out that Jiyu family had exchanged for the spirit fluid of life. However, Jiyu Fenglan didn't give it to him and directly disappeared with all the resources and space crystals stored in the family. How could Jiyu Haitian not understand such a situation? He knew that Jiyu Fenglan wanted him to recover and rise again, which made him very angry. Therefore, he directly sent people to do the task. He must exchange for the spirit fluid of life and space crystals. In addition, Jiyu Haitian also searched everywhere for Jiyu Fenglan. However, he couldn't find him for a while and gave up. If Jiyu Fenglan deliberately hid, he wouldn't be able to find him. In an inconspicuous mansion in a small city located in Qingtian realm, Jiyu Hao had been cultivating himself with great effort. He was brought here by Jiyu Fenglan. Jiyu Fenglan didn't want the turmoil in the family to affect Jiyu Hao. Jiyu Hao already knew that Ji Royal City was destroyed by Night Sorrow and the others, which made him very angry. However, with Jiyu Fenglan's order, he didn't dare to go out. Helplessly, Jiyu Hao turned his anger into the motivation for his cultivation. Night Sorrow worked hard to improve his cultivation base. When he was tired, he would go to the god-slaying team to chat with them, drink tea, or go to the lake to cultivate. Night Sorrow also cut down a big tree and built a small boat. When he wasn't cultivating, he would go to the boat and let it drift, while he brewed tea and watched the scenery. Night Moon was safe and sound at the moment. His family was safe and sound, so he had nothing to worry about. If there were any hidden worries, he was worried about Tai Chuan of the Medicine Valley. However, he could only wait until he became a venerable before going there. Yiling Lan knew that Night Sorrow liked to sail a boat on the lake, so he found a craftsman to build a simple yet stylish wooden boat for Night Sorrow. There was a room at one end and a tea table and rocking chair at the other end. It was very well made for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't reject it. Anyway, it was already done and it wasn't hard. He could just use it. Yang Lei Aoi and Sikong Chuyu would accompany Night Sorrow to drink tea and chat when they were not cultivating. Only tea version. All M is %8 pirate tea version +4 because he had the small boat to rest, drink tea and meditate. Night Sorrow didn't have much time to return to the mansion. When Night Sorrow finished cultivating again, xianxia came. Sixth uncle, come and have some tea. Night Sorrow waved at xianxia. After sitting down, xianxia said to Night Sorrow, there's some good news. Prince Wuyo used the life spirit fluid and his body is fine. Also, Brother Ling Huan's old injuries have completely healed. He's gone into seclusion to make the final push. That's great. I don't have anything to worry about, Night Sorrow said happily. The emperors and Brother Ling Huan have given orders to you again. This king is to make sure you don't mess around. Ah. xianxia was also very happy. That's good. The ancestors of the family are Night Moon's foundation. Since they're fine, everything else is easy to handle, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes, that's why Sixth Uncle is also happy. Also, Sixth Uncle has communicated with the Yun dynasty and passed Brother Ling Huan's letter to the Yun dynasty monarch. They will do their best to help us stabilize the situation. Later, Sixth Uncle will go and make other connections to stabilize the situation completely, xianxia said. Sixth Uncle, I still have something I need your help with. I've proposed marriage to the Sikong family, but without the elders of the family present, the engagement ceremony can't go on. If Uncle feels that it's okay and feels that you can make an appearance, then I'll go and call for Father Gu who raised me. With the two of you present, the engagement ceremony can go on, Yishang said. Okay, that's great. Do this immediately. Otherwise, if you have a child first, it'll be bad for your reputation. As long as you're engaged, having a child will be justified. When do you leave? After hearing Night Sorrow's words, xianxia became excited. He was very concerned about whether or not Night Moon's direct descendants would have any descendants. I'm going back to the Eastern Profound Domain to pick up Father Gu who raised me. I'll go to the Medicine Valley of the Eastern Profound Domain first to hold the engagement ceremony. Ninth senior sister hasn't held an engagement ceremony yet, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. We'll do as you say. Also, Sixth Uncle wants to meet Golden Phoenix. We still have some friendship in the past. Sixth Uncle also contributed to the matter of the first base in the Empyrean Tower. Sixth Uncle also has some acquaintances in the Empyrean Tower. He also needs to communicate with them, xianxia said. Then we'll set off immediately, Night Sorrow said. Xianxia wasn't a sloppy person. He directly returned to the mansion with Night Sorrow and communicated with the women. Aoi also had to attend Night Sorrow's engagement ceremony because she was his junior brother and his junior sister. They were both the most important family members. After informing the others, Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu put on their masks while Aoi and xianxia put on their veils. The group took the teleportation array and left Sky City. If it weren't for xianxia, Night Sorrow would have taken everyone directly to Qinji Tower's strategic teleportation array. However, xianxia was Night Moon's subordinate. If they took the strategic teleportation array directly, it would be disrespectful to Qinji Tower. Night Sorrow didn't want to do that. After exiting the teleportation array of the Taiqing Domain's mansion, Night Sorrow's group arrived at the teleportation array of the Taiqing Domain. Upon seeing Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu's masks, the guards of Taiqing City let them in without asking any questions. After arriving at the Qingtian Domain, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment before telling Sikong Chuyu about the situation. They had to bring Father Gu with them for the engagement ceremony. They would start in the Medicine Valley. I'm fine. Don't think so little of me, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. That's good. I hope you can call me Auntie Fei too, Night Sorrow said. Yes, of course. Yang Lei nodded. Then the group continued to teleport. Night Sorrow originally thought that they would have to fly to pass through the blank areas without teleportation arrays. To his surprise, because of the development of the Eastern Shen region's base, Qinji Tower had set up some public teleportation arrays that could directly teleport them to the Realm's Sea. The number of teleportation arrays in the Taiwa domain had also increased. The blank areas had also been filled. In other words, they could teleport directly without the need for a strategic teleportation array. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with this situation. Recently, he had been using the strategic teleportation array, so he didn't know about the changes in the situation outside. After arriving at Dongshen City, they took off their masks. We'll rest at the mansion tonight. We'll return to Danding City tomorrow. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow announced his decision. He wanted to invite Wu Lingfei to his engagement ceremony. Chapter 654. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They sat down in the backyard. Night Sorrow hadn't gone to see Wu Lingfei yet. Wu Lingfei appeared because she sensed an expert coming. Evil King Ling. Wu Lingfei was startled to see xianxia. Golden Phoenix? You've entered the sage realm? I should call you Lord Golden Phoenix. Xianxia cupped his hands at Wu Lingfei. He hadn't seen her face before, but he could recognize her from her aura. We were friends back then and we're still friends today. You called me Mistress Wu Kei back then and you can still call me that now. Wu Lingfei found a seat and sat down. Good. Mistress Wu Kei entering the sage realm is truly worthy of celebration. Xianxia also sat down. Since evil King Ling is fine, why haven't you come to see me for so many years? Wu Lingfei asked. Back then it was the sage of the Tianfeng dynasty Xuanhuan who took action. What's the point of me coming to see you? Dragging others down with me won't change the situation, so there's no point. Xianxia sighed. As long as you're alive there's a chance. Now that you've appeared, Night Moon shouldn't be too far away. It's just that without a sage it's a bit troublesome, said Wu Lingfei. Linghuan brother Wang set up a seal. It's a seal that the Yi clan sealed. No sage can come out so we'll have to wait. Xianxia sighed. A while ago I heard an expert talk about Night Moon. I knew your strength was still there, but no sage didn't want to come out. I didn't expect it to be a seal, said Wu Lingfei. Someone else knows about Night Moon? That shouldn't be. I'm the only one who can contact the Yi clan now. Xianxia was shocked. This meant that Night Moon wasn't safe. She's a high-level saint. She's friends with the Moon Monarch, so she won't be a threat to the Night clan. If it was before, I would definitely go out and fight you. But now, it's not appropriate for saints to participate in a realm war. However, if Night Moon needs help, the Eastern Shen region can still send some people. Wu Lingfei directly expressed her willingness to help. High-level cultivators all had their dignity. She didn't want to wait for Xianxia to speak. That would damage his dignity. Friends didn't need to do that. Thank you. For the time being we will not counterattack. We will wait for Brother Linghuan to take that step. If there is a need I will ask. Love Gon Little say W Chui Lingxia voiced his thoughts. That's fine. You can ask whenever you need. Night Sorrow, you seem to be in a good state. The knot in your heart should have been untied, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. I'm fine now. I want to hold an engagement ceremony. I've invited my 6th uncle. Also, Auntie Fei is my relative. Of course I have to invite Auntie Fei. I don't know if it's convenient for Auntie Fei, Night Sorrow said. Even if it's inconvenient you still have to go. Who asked you to be Auntie Fei's only relative? After saying this Wu Lingfei looked at Xianxia. She realized that she might be at a disadvantage in terms of seniority. These are two different things. A personal relationship is a personal relationship. It doesn't involve anything. Noticing Wu Lingfei's gaze, Xianxia naturally understood what it meant. It's good that you understand. When are we going? Wu Lingfei glanced at Xianxia, then turned to Night Sorrow and asked. Tomorrow we'll go to the Medicine Valley. Then we'll go to the Qingtian region's Jianghu family. Love Gon Little sake, Night Sorrow said. No problem. Then we'll go to the Medicine Valley tomorrow. Also, King Lingxia, let's not talk about our friendship. When the Tianjin Tower established the first base in the Taiqing region, the Night Moon dynasty did their best to help. This is a favor that the Tianjin Tower owes the Night Moon dynasty. When we go to the Jianghu family, we can also go to the Tianjin Tower's headquarters and discuss with the Chief K-Master and the others to see if they can help you, Wu Lingfei said. In the end, Xianxia said that he wanted to preserve the current situation and not be attacked before the Yi clan's people returned. Then Night Sorrow arranged for everyone to rest. He knew that the situation would get better and better. After a night's rest, Yishang led the group to Danding City. Then Yishang went to pick up Papa Gu and told him his idea. Papa Gu was 100% in favor of Night Sorrow's engagement ceremony. This was the scene he wanted to see the most. Yang Lei went to the Golden Flame Palace but did not see Yu Yangyu. After Yu Yangyu's cultivation level increased rapidly, he did not often cultivate in the Golden Flame Palace. Original. First dollar in the Danding Palace, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu. Then Hua Yunpeng appeared. Wu Lingfei's and Xianxia's auras were too strong. He had no choice but to know. The Great Elder was in seclusion and did not appear. After Night Sorrow introduced them, Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunpeng, who knew Wu Lingfei's and Xianxia's identities, bowed and greeted them. Wu Lingfei was the city lord of Dongshan City, so the Medicine Valley had to respect her. Yi Lingxie was a peak supremacy, so Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunpeng also had to respect him. After learning about Night Sorrow's idea, Hua Yunpeng did some calculations and found out that tomorrow was an auspicious day. The engagement ceremony was set to be held tomorrow at Taishan Peak. After that, Yishang led the group to the bamboo forest peak to rest. Yishang didn't mention Tai Chuan to Wu Lingfei. He didn't want to cause trouble for her. Once he entered the Venerate realm, he could go and investigate by himself. Yi Lingxie and Papagu chatted. He did not look down on Papagu, who was at the 3rd level of the core formation realm. Instead, he was very respectful and grateful to Papagu for raising Night Sorrow. After resting for a night, the group arrived at Taishan Palace. Many people had come to Taishan Palace today. It was almost a sea of people. Almost all the elite disciples of the Medicine Valley had come. The engagement of the Vice Valley Master and the Elder was a big deal. After entering the palace, everyone chatted casually as they waited for the auspicious time. After all, they were all particular about auspiciousness. Night Sorrow was surrounded by his senior and junior brothers. A group of people congratulated him and asked him many questions. Night Sorrow replied with a chuckle. He was really happy. Actually, Night Sorrow was not the only one who was happy. Yu Yangyu and his disciples were also very happy. They all hoped that Night Sorrow would be happy. When a gong sounded from the direction of Danding Peak, Yi Lingxie straightened his robes and stood up. He cupped his fists at Yu Yangyu. First of all, I am very grateful to the Medicine Valley for raising Night Sorrow, a member of the Yi clan. Night Moon will never forget this. In addition, as Night Sorrow's elder, I would like to ask the Valley Master to let the 2 disciples of the Night Moon take care of Night Sorrow. Why 2? Yu Yangyu was stunned. Yu Yangyu was not the only one who was stunned. The others were also stunned. This was because everyone knew that Night Sorrow and Yang Lei were engaged. Chapter 655. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and Aoi. He had never thought about this, but looking at it now, the truth was similar to what Yi Lingxie had said. After a moment of awkward silence, Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow. 13. What do you think? Yu Yangyu's words pushed Night Sorrow to the front. Night Sorrow didn't know how to answer. No, that would hurt Aoi's face. Okay. What was that? This was a little unreliable, mainly because Yi Lingxie didn't follow the rules. No one would have thought of this. Aoi, what do you think? Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't answer, Yu Yangyu looked at Aoi. At this moment, Qingji's face was red. She was the same as Yishang. She didn't want to say no because that would hurt Yishang's dignity. Similarly, saying yes was also inappropriate. Valley Master, look. They're both embarrassed. At the very least, they don't hate each other. Isn't the best way for a man and woman to treat each other with respect? Yi Lingxie said. The way he did things was a little evil. It was very appropriate for the word evil in his name. Valley Master, I think it's okay too, Hua Yunping said with a smile. 13. Then Master will leave your 9th and 6th senior sisters to you. Your 6th senior sister has a gentle personality. You can't let her be wronged. Love Gong Little Say Wangxiu Yangyu thought for a moment and felt that this was a good thing. Aoi also needed someone to take care of her. She was particular about being outstanding and responsible. Night Sorrow had nothing to say. You're still not speaking. Gong Xian, who wasn't far from Night Sorrow, pushed Night Sorrow. Disciple won't disappoint Master. Night Sorrow was being forced to do something beyond his ability. He could only bow in return. Come, welcome gift. This is the identity medallion of my clan's young master's wife. This seat carved it overnight. In addition, this is a teleportation bracelet. This is a meeting gift for this seat and Father Gu. You can each have one. Yi Lingxie took out 2 blood thread jade pendants and 2 silver bracelets. Following which, Yu Yangyu took out a piece of ore. This is the Star Cloud Iron. 13. Take this and find a blacksmith. He can upgrade your weapon. Thank you, Master. Night Sorrow bowed and took it. Alright, you guys are now engaged. Auntie Fei will give each of you a weapon. Wu Lingfei took out 2 spirit grade swords and gave them to Yang Lei and Aoi. Originally, Wu Lingfei had prepared 2 weapons for Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. But now that Yi Lingxie had messed around, she could only take them out. I'm drunk. You're marrying one and giving one away. 13. The treasures of Taishan Peak have all been brought home by you. Shi Tianlin knocked on Night Sorrow's shoulder. How can you say that? How can you say that? Give one away? 6th senior sister is a treasure. How can you give her away? Yang Lei glared at Shi Tianlin. Shi Tianlin rubbed his nose and didn't say anything. Following which, a large banquet was set up in front of the plaza. Everyone drank and chatted happily. Night Sorrow, Aoi, Yang Lei, Sikong Chiyu, and Wu Lingfei sat at the same table. 6th senior sister, don't think too much. I'm your 13th junior brother. I'll take care of you no matter what. 6th senior sister, if you have someone you like, just tell me. I'll tell master, Night Sorrow said. Do you know how to talk? You idiot. I'll deal with you later. Yang Lei glared at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also didn't know what to say. Xianxia had been too reckless today. He wasn't mentally prepared. Aoi blushed and didn't say anything. Update. Fastest on DG Xianxia Yu Yangyu Hua Yunping and Papa Gu were drinking. Love Gong little say, Netokue moment later Xianxia came over. Night Sorrow, did Granduncle do well? Very well. Night Sorrow said with a smirk. Then Night Sorrow and Sikong Chiyu sent Papa Gu, who was a little drunk, to rest. Xianxia and Wu Lingfei also left. Yang Lei and Aoi served the guests. Night Sorrow, I've embarrassed you today. I didn't prepare a greeting gift for you, Papa Gu said. Father, you raised me. That's the greatest gift, Night Sorrow said. After comforting Papa Gu and seeing him rest, Night Sorrow came out of the bamboo house. Sikong Chiyu brewed tea and accompanied Wu Lingfei and Xianxia. Chiyu's 6th granduncle was reckless. You've been wronged, Wu Lingfei said to Xianxia. I'm really sorry about this. I only spoke because I thought they were suitable. Don't worry. If Night Sorrow dares to bully you, I'll take care of him even if it means offending my superiors. Xianxia said somewhat embarrassedly. He was helpless. He just wanted to see Night Sorrow's side flourish. Night Moon's dynasty needed people to flourish. It's nothing. Actually, I like 6th senior sister. She has a good personality and knows how to take care of Night Sorrow better than 9th senior sister and I. Sikong Chiyu said. You're thinking too much. I just said that I'm taking care of 6th senior sister. Once she has someone she likes, this matter will be over, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yishang, 9th senior sister, called you an idiot just now, and you still haven't realized it. Do you think 6th senior sister is a casual person? Would she break off the engagement? Just treat 6th senior sister well in the future, Sikong Chiyu said. Some people have a gentle personality, but they have some persistence in certain aspects. Chiyu is right about this. She has a gentle personality and needs others to care for her. You have to take good care of her. Women don't have it easy, Wu Lingfei said. In the evening Yang Lei and Aoi came back. Many guests were received by them. It was reasonable for them to receive guests from their maiden family. Night Sorrow received guests from his side. It was the same for most engagement ceremonies. Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu smiled and went to rest, leaving behind Night Sorrow and Aoi. 13th junior brother, why are you looking at me like that? It's been hard on you today. There was a touch of blush on Qingji's face. She had never thought that she would be involved in the engagement ceremony today. 6th senior sister, don't say that. It's my granduncle who messed around and made you embarrassed, Night Sorrow said. It's okay. Don't think too much. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said. I've always respected 6th senior sister. I won't let 6th senior sister suffer any grievances in the future, Night Sorrow said seriously. I know 13th junior brother loves senior sister. It's okay today. You're tired. Go and rest, Aoi said to Night Sorrow with a smile. She had mixed feelings at the moment. She couldn't refuse today, but she wouldn't take it as a joke. It was impossible for her to fall in love with someone else like Night Sorrow said. So after coming back, Aoi had been paying attention to Night Sorrow's words and actions. This would determine her happiness. Seeing Night Sorrow's attitude and promise, Aoi knew that her happiness was not a problem. Chapter 656. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After returning to the main building, Yishang thought for a moment and still felt uneasy. He was worried that this matter would conflict with Qingji, so he returned to the courtyard. Why are you here again? Are you worried about senior sister? It seems that 6th senior sister was right not to refuse, because 13th junior brother is a man with a sense of responsibility. Seeing Yishang return, Qingji's heart felt a lot better, because it was true that Yishang was worried about her. After chatting with Aoi for a while and sending Aoi to the pavilion to rest, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. After cultivating for a whole night, when Night Sorrow woke up to cultivate his spear art, everyone else woke up one after another. Aoi also brought a basin of water. Senior sister, don't be like this. Night Sorrow was a little embarrassed. That's right. He just got engaged yesterday and he's already getting water to wash his face. Senior sister, you're spoiling him too much, Yang Lei said with a smile. No. 13, tell me, Did senior sister get water for you to wash your face the last time you came back? Aoi was a little embarrassed and looked directly at Night Sorrow. Yes, it's true. Senior sister got water for me to wash my face the last time I came back to set up the teleportation formation. Night Sorrow said. Even if it wasn't true, he would still say it was true because he wanted to protect Aoi's dignity and face. It seems that we have to work hard too. Otherwise, senior sister will be the most favored, Yang Lei said with a smile. Yes, a gentle and considerate woman like senior sister is the most fatal to a man, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. You two are also bad. You even know how to bully sixth senior sister, Aoi said. She knew that this was not a real bully but an acceptance. After packing up, Night Sorrow expressed his intention to leave because he still had to go to the Sikong family in the Qingtian region to hold the engagement ceremony. Also, he couldn't leave the Night Moon dynasty all the time. No one objected to Night Sorrow's suggestion. Soon after, the group arrived at the Taishan Grand Hall. After bidding farewell to Yu Yangyu and the others, they took the teleportation circle and teleported to Bailing City. Under the guidance of Sikong Chuyu, the group arrived at the Heavenly Cauldron residence in the Sikong residence. Both sides introduced themselves and xianxia explained the purpose of his visit. That's good. I've always been anxious about this matter. Everyone stay here first. I'll inform the family and choose the nearest auspicious day to settle this matter. Sikong Tianding said with a smile. He didn't mind Night Sorrow having another woman. Sikong Luyun also came over to greet Wu Lingfei and xianxia. He knew both of them and they were considered seniors. The date was set for 2 days later. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, Aoi and Papa Gu stayed here. Wu Lingfei and xianxia left and went to the Tianji Tower headquarters. If the Night Moon dynasty wanted to rise again, they would also need the help of Tianji Tower. In addition, xianxia and Sikong Luyun had also talked. The Sikong family was also willing to help the Night Moon dynasty. In fact, this was considered a risky investment because once the Night Moon dynasty rose again, it would be a colossus that the Sikong family couldn't compare to. If the Sikong family won the bet, it would be an opportunity for the Sikong family to develop. Night Sorrow didn't ask about these things because xianxia would tell him when he returned. The following engagement ceremony was also completed smoothly. All this time, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu only lacked a wedding ceremony. Their relationship was recognized by everyone. After the engagement ceremony was completed, Sikong Tianding wanted everyone to stay for a while, but because everyone had something to do, he could only give up. Night Sorrow and the others also returned to Sky City. Wu Lingfei also followed. Love Gone Little Seika, Night Sorrow, your place is really good. How about this? Leave a loft for Aunt Fei. In the future, Aunt Fei will also come and stay here. After arriving at Sky City, Wu Lingfei looked around and said, Of course, no problem. Aunt Fei, don't worry, Night Sorrow said. Then Night Sorrow arranged for Wu Lingfei to stay. Night Sorrow and xianxia chatted alone for a while. Tianji Tower was willing to help the Night Moon dynasty rebuild. They even sent the Shadow Palace warriors who had never participated in battles before into the Night Moon area. In other words, without the participation of invincible venerables and saints, it was impossible for anyone to break in. This made Night Sorrow feel more at ease. After all, saints wouldn't participate in such a battle easily. There were only a few invincible venerables and they wouldn't fight easily either. Sixth uncle, does this mean that Night Moon is safe for now? Night Sorrow said. Look at the S version I chapter 0T on H. Yes, with the help of Tianji Tower and the Yun dynasty, there are no problems at the moment. We'll stall for time. While building the Night Moon, we'll wait for the family to come out of the Night Moon Sea, xianxia said. Then I feel more at ease. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. You still have to leave more descendants for Night Moon. That's the key, xianxia said. Parents' achievements will affect their children's achievements, right? That's why I won't have children for now. Let's wait and see. Night Sorrow spoke his thoughts. Sigh. You're right. Sixth uncle is really conflicted, xianxia said with a sigh. After resting for a night, xianxia went to work again. He had a lot of things to do now. He needed to communicate with all parties and preside over the Night Moon situation. Night Sorrow called Wu Lingfei to his wooden boat to chat on the lake. Watching you grow up step by step, Aunt Fei feels very emotional, Wu Lingfei said as she looked at Night Sorrow. It's the first time I've seen Aunt Fei feel emotional, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Your appearance has affected the structure of the 9 regions world. Evil King Ling told Aunt Fei that the resources you provided ensured the return of Night Moon. In other words, the rise of Night Moon was influenced by you. The rise of Night Moon will definitely cause a reshuffling of the 9 regions world. It has far-reaching implications, Wu Lingfei said. If my grandfather enters the Saint Realm, will he be a match for the Tianfeng dynasty's saint? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. Tianfeng Saint Xuanhuan is a 5-star saint. Even if he faces Aunt Fei, he won't necessarily win. Cultivation doesn't represent combat power. The undefeated King Yi Linghuan is a classic example of the weak defeating the strong. As long as he enters the Saint Realm, it will be difficult for Tianfeng Saint Xuanhuan to win. This is the advantage of attributes, Wu Lingfei said. That's good. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief. Actually, Auntie Fei has asked Grand Elder Xie before. Among the saints, the stronger one is the Qingtian domain Saint Yin Shi. However, she's not strong enough to interfere with the Grand Clarity domain situation. Wu Lingfei analyzed the situation to Yi Shang. This is always an unstable factor. After all, her fists are bigger. Whatever she wants to do, we can only passively accept it, Night Sorrow said with clenched fists. Chapter 657. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Who is the strongest expert in the 9 regions? Night Sorrow asked curiously. I don't know either because I'm a newcomer among the saints. Anyway, it's not Saint Yin Shi. She won't dare to act recklessly. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. I feel more at ease after listening to your analysis. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Wu Lingfei and said, You just have to work hard in your cultivation. However, there's no need to be anxious. You're doing very well now. Who doesn't know your name, Night Sorrow? The God-slaying team has become famous. Even the Eastern Profound region has become famous. You've already achieved your initial goal. Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow did not say anything. Although he was very happy with the current situation of the Night Moon dynasty, he did not like the feeling of his fate being controlled by others and the situation being decided by others. When this matter is over, you can go to the 9 regions and 18 prefectures to increase your experience and enrich your life. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. She knew what Night Sorrow was. She knew that Night Sorrow had the heart of an expert. Night Sorrow nodded. He also had the same thought. After staying with Night Sorrow for a while, Wu Lingfei returned to her residence. Night Sorrow had the heart of an expert, but so did she. Therefore, she would make the best use of her time to cultivate. Night Sorrow was lying on a deck chair on the wooden boat, staring at the flowing clouds in the sky. The sky was the same, but the world under the heavens was different. Every day was the same, but the world under the heavens was constantly changing. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow controlled the small boat to reach the shore. Then he practiced his spear technique and continued to perfect the combination of his movement technique and spear technique. When he killed Ji Yu's Yuan Dang, Night Sorrow had already experienced the superiority of speed. With speed and strength, his attacks would be overwhelming. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the members of the God-slaying team were also working hard in their cultivation. With the support of sufficient pills and everyone's hard work, many of them had already reached the 4th level of the Void Inquiry stage. The combat prowess of a mid-Void Inquiry stage expert and an early Void Inquiry stage expert were completely different. Always spent most of her time cultivating with everyone. She wanted to change herself. The engagement ceremony gave her some ideas. She didn't want to be a burden to Night Sorrow, and she also didn't want to be a burden to Night Sorrow. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu sensed this. Yang Lei went to Night Sorrow's boat and told him about Aoi's situation. 6th senior sister, you don't have to do this. I'll go back and talk to her tonight, Night Sorrow said with a frown. After that, he drank a pot of tea with Yang Lei and cultivated by the lake with Yang Lei until evening. Then they returned to the mansion together. 6th senior sister, there's something I want to talk to you about. Night Sorrow said. So formal. What do you want to talk to me about? Aoi sat in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow got up and poured a pot of tea for Aoi. 6th senior sister, you don't like fighting and killing. You don't have to force yourself. Just live the way you like. No. I've thought about it for the past 2 days. I've always been thinking about it. There's nothing bad about increasing my combat prowess. If there's a battle, I'll try my best to minimize the casualties. Aoi said. 6th senior sister, you don't have to do this. As long as your 13th brother is alive, I'll deal with the battles. Night Sorrow said. It's not like that. You, 9th junior sister, and Chuyu will fight together while I'll be a bystander. That's why it's necessary to increase your strength. Also, 6th senior sister's cultivation level is very high. If you don't work hard, it'll be a waste. Aoi shook her head at Night Sorrow. Yi Shang sighed. 6th senior sister, you decide for yourself. Alright, sixth senior sister isn't a child. I know what to do. Am I not your senior sister? Aoi said with a smile. Alright. Knight Sorrow nodded. Since Aoi insisted, he couldn't say anything else. After Yi Shan chatted with everyone for a while, he returned to his room to meditate and cultivate. 13 is right. Sixth senior sister, you really don't have to do things you don't like. Yang Lei said. I really don't. Don't you think 13 is tired after cultivating so hard? Aoi looked at the main building of the mansion and asked. He treats cultivation like a meal. Cultivation is his hobby. Xianxia said with a smile. In the secret cultivation room, Knight Sorrow held the black tortoise spirit crystal in his hand. The spacetime pagoda was also helping him cultivate. Currently, Knight Sorrow's cultivation of the myriad Dao's treasured tome was improving the fastest, followed by his soul power. His chi and bloodline power were slightly weaker. The main reason was that these two directions required too much energy. After cultivating for a night, Knight Sorrow ate breakfast with everyone. Knight Sorrow, come with us to the martial arts practice field to play. It's too lonely for you to cultivate alone. Xianxia looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Sure. I'll cultivate with you guys today. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Then they arrived at the martial arts practice field. Knight Sorrow waved at Qingzhen, Mazhuang, Tang Tian, and Chu Ning. I'm free today. I'll cultivate with you guys. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Yang Lei took a rattan and handed it to Knight Sorrow. 13th Martial Uncle, we don't have to do this, right? Tang Tian said with a bitter face. Yes, we do. You guys have to educate us. Always said with a smile. Okay, the four of us will spar. Chu Ning's cultivation is the lowest. I'll use the same cultivation as Chu Ning. As for whether you get hit by the rattan or not, it's up to you guys. Knight Sorrow shook the rattan and said. Chu Ning, Mazhuang, Tang Tian, and Qingzhen were all at the same level. Knight Sorrow was going to use his cultivation level to spar with them. The others were also interested in watching the battle. Captain, you can't use your cultivation level. If you do, it'll be boring. Ling Long said. I didn't plan to use it. Knight Sorrow glanced at Ling Long. He knew that Ling Long wanted to see him suffer. Then, 13th brother, I won't hold back. Qingzhen said. Little guy. It'll be strange if you don't hold back. 13th Martial Uncle, beat these guys up. Yang Lei looked at Qingzhen and the others and said. Let's do it. Knight Sorrow waved the rattan and said. Then the spar began. At this time, Qingzhen and the others knew what it meant to be miserable. Knight Sorrow's rattan was infused with true chi. Sometimes it was vibration force, sometimes it was spiral force, and sometimes it was wave force. The few of them could not withstand it. Even with the protection of true chi, they could not cut the rattan. Even if he controlled his cultivation level, Knight Sorrow's speed was extremely fast. The rattan was specifically aimed at the flaws in their attacks and defense. What was Knight Sorrow's eyesight? What kind of battle technique was that? How could Qingzhen and the others be compared to him? The rattan kept falling on their bodies. Knight Sorrow did not show any mercy. The rattan tore their clothes and their bodies were covered in wounds. Okay, it's useless to act rashly. In a while, let's summarize the battle. Knight Sorrow waved his arm and pushed the few of them back. Qingzhen and the others lowered their heads and did not speak. They were defeated. Chapter 658. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. Thank you, Brother 13. Qingzhen understands, Qingzhen said as he bowed slightly. Thank you, Uncle 13. Mazhuang and the other two bowed as well. Heal your wounds first and think about what I said. The rest of you, form groups of 5 and fight with me, Knight Sorrow said as he looked at the other members of the God-slaying team. Ho Jian and the others nodded. In fact, even if Knight Sorrow did not say anything, they would have done the same. This was because they would have found their own weaknesses. Knight Sorrow controlled his cultivation level so that it was the same as the person with the lowest cultivation level in each group. Then he sparred with everyone. After a whole morning, the members of the God-slaying team, including Yang Lei and Xianxia, all had bloodstains on their bodies. Those were the traces of the rattan. Everyone also saw what real combat skills and combat awareness were. Although they were at the same cultivation level or even slightly lower, Knight Sorrow's combat power was far superior to theirs. This was under the condition that Knight Sorrow did not use his ultimate move. Knight Sorrow was in the realm of one with the spear. The rattan was a part of Knight Sorrow's body. Its attack power was extremely strong. Go back and rest well. Think about it carefully, Knight Sorrow said as he looked at the group of people. That's it for today. Do you dare to continue tomorrow? Xuanhuan, who had a few bloodstains on his back, was full of fighting spirit. Can you guys do it? Night Sorrow glanced at Xuanhuan and then looked at the other members of the god-slaying team. Men can't not do it, Xueling shouted as he waved his long sword. Women can do it too. Ling Long, who had a few bloodstains on her back, shouted as well. Everyone can do it. Let's continue tomorrow. Night Sorrow threw away the rattan and turned to leave the training ground. I won't let 13th junior brother stop me tomorrow. I want to train like this too, Always said as she looked in the direction Night Sorrow left. Yanglei shook her head. 6th senior sister, don't come over. 13, this beast is really ruthless. Look at this. After speaking, Yanglei rolled up her sleeves, revealing 2 bloodstains. This guy's speed is simply too frightening. There's no way we can compare to him at all. Xuanhuan looked at Yanglei and the rest and said. Xuanhuan, Ling Long, Yanglei, and Xikong Chuyu were practicing with Night Sorrow today. Night Sorrow used the same cultivation as Yanglei and Xikong Chuyu. Even so, they couldn't restrain Night Sorrow's speed and could only passively take a beating. Let's focus on defense first. My left arm and the left side of my body are the weak points in defense, Yanglei said. Night Sorrow returned to his residence and began to meditate and cultivate. In fact, today's training was also beneficial to him. The weak points of others shouldn't appear in his body. At the training ground, Night Sorrow left. The others were applying medicine and bandaging their wounds. They were all thinking about their own weaknesses. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow practiced his spear techniques in the morning and ate breakfast with the girls. After eating, Alway poured Night Sorrow a cup of tea and said, 13, don't stop me from training today. This is the path that 6th senior sister has chosen. Can you respect 6th senior sister a little? Night Sorrow looked seriously at Aoi and nodded. He knew that Aoi had chosen this path. When the group arrived at the training ground, the members of the god-slaying squad were already waiting in formation. Yiling Lan had also come to watch. He had watched for a while yesterday. Ma Shizhuang brought Night Sorrow a rattan. Are you all ready? Night Sorrow asked, holding the rattan. We're ready. The group of people roared. Not bad. Let's divide the teams according to their cultivation. There's no high or low. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Night Sorrow looked at the teams the god-slaying squad had divided. Don't look down on us. Do we have to do this? Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow and said. I'm not worried about the others. I'm only worried about you. Alright, let's begin. Night Sorrow waved the rattan and pointed at one of the teams. As the rattan tore through the air, the members of the god-slaying squad cried out in pain. Although they wouldn't be seriously injured, the rattan still hurt. It was useless to put up a protective barrier. The barrier would be shattered by Night Sorrow's concussive force and penetrated by the spiraling force. There was no way they could take it head-on. Half a day passed and the sparring session ended. The god-slaying squad members were all grimacing in pain because the rattan had hurt too much. Not bad. You all made some progress. Continue to study your weaknesses. We'll fight again in 2 days. Night Sorrow tossed the rattan aside, got up and left the training ground. Too brutal. I've already paid attention to the defense on my back, but I still got hit, Xuanhuan said as he touched the bloody marks on his back. Young master's speed is too fast. Your attacks all missed. You can't break his speed, so you can only study your defenses. Actually, if you want to hit someone first, you have to learn how to take a beating. It's just like how young madam's left arm is always being hit. The main problem is that the swing is too big. These are all unnecessary weaknesses, Yiling Lan, who was watching from the side, said. Being fast isn't invincible. When you meet a fast opponent, you have to be able to predict. That is, you have to estimate the opponent's attack trajectory and make a judgment in advance. Then you have to dodge. Every movement of your footwork has to have the effect of one step. Wu Lingfei also appeared. She had been looking at the scenery outside the training ground, so she knew the situation here. Xuanhuan and the others nodded. Everyone knew that this was the fastest way to improve one's strength. Night Sorrow went to the small boat by the lake. He took out a jar of wine and drank slowly. At the same time, he thought about the weaknesses of others and compared himself to others. After drinking, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate his spear arts, pursuing high speed and violent attacks. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow went to rest. Wu Lingfei came over. Seeing you cultivate reminds me of when I was young. Auntie Fei is forever young. Night Sorrow smiled and got up to make tea. You really know how to talk. Auntie Fei has some suggestions. You have to cultivate your footwork to be more smooth. For example, you have to walk in an arc. After changing directions, you won't lose momentum. This can increase the power of your attacks. You should know that strength is also your strength. Wu Lingfei sat down on the wooden boat and said. Night Sorrow thought for a while and nodded. He felt that this was a good direction for cultivation. It's really convenient to communicate with smart people. In fact, cultivating one's battle strength is nothing more than pursuing speed. Speed and strength are still in service of attacking. The two should always be combined without any gaps. Wu Lingfei said. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Auntie Fei doesn't know about the nihility attribute, so I can't give you any good suggestions. However, you can slowly figure it out by yourself. Wu Lingfei was also helpless that Night Sorrow hadn't shown the power of the nihility attribute. Recently, I discovered that the nihility chi can be melted. In other words, when the chi is condensed to a point, it can melt everything around it into nothingness. Night Sorrow said his discovery. Chapter 659. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. Night Sorrow stood up. After his true chi erupted, he compressed it and shot out a spear. As Night Sorrow shot out, a purple halo appeared at the tip of the spear. In the middle of the halo, an area similar to a spatial black hole appeared. Unlike a spatial black hole, there was nothing there. It was truly empty. Nothingness. This is true nothingness. It's just that the empty spot is a bit small. Wu Lingfei's eyes were filled with shock. Yes, but I think that as my cultivation increases, its power will increase. Night Sorrow said. Of course, when your cultivation increases, your true chi will become more condensed, and your chi shield will also have the ability to melt. Then all kinds of attacks will not touch you. Wu Lingfei nodded. She now understood the terror of the nothingness attribute. Aunt Fei, there's still something I don't understand. Night Moon's family is mostly of the spatial attribute. My mother can't be of the nothingness attribute. How can I be of the nothingness attribute? Night Sorrow asked. How can you ask such an idiotic question? Talent is inherited, bloodline is also inherited, but attributes are not. Attributes are determined by a person's compatibility with the origin of heaven and earth. Wu Lingfei was helpless with Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow was an idiot in many aspects. I won't ask in the future. Night Sorrow was embarrassed because he really didn't know. It's fortunate that you asked. Otherwise, if your future child wasn't of the nothingness attribute, you would have some ideas. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. That won't happen. Night Sorrow also smiled because Wu Lingfei rarely joked. The two chatted casually, and Wu Lingfei also told Night Sorrow some common knowledge, and some cultivation experience. Night Sorrow also benefited a lot because he was lacking in these aspects. In the evening, the two returned to the mansion. We just changed the medicine. 13. You really did it? Yang Lei rubbed her arm. Awei's face was also red because Night Sorrow had whipped her thigh twice. You guys were the ones who requested to spar. Besides, if you know where it hurts, you'll pay more attention to your defense in the future, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then they all had dinner together. After dinner, Night Sorrow stood up and said, If you're tired, rest early. You're going to cultivate so early today. Aren't you going to drink a pot of tea? Xianxia looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. In the past, Night Sorrow would only leave after drinking a pot of tea. The night of the full moon is the day the Yi clan pays their respects to their ancestors. I'm going to burn some incense. Love gone little sake. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and said. Then let's go too. It's only right for me to burn incense with you, Xianxia said. She was now Night Sorrow's fiancée, and also Night Moon's woman. You guys can go too. After the engagement ceremony as Night Sorrow's fiancé, it's only right for you guys to go and pay your respects to Night Sorrow's ancestors, Wu Lingfei said. Yang Lei and Awei nodded. It was mainly Awei's side. Yang Lei had already paid her respects. Everyone changed into solemn robes and took the teleportation circle to Night Moon City. Under Night Sorrow's lead, the four of them arrived at Night Moon's inscription. Seeing Night Sorrow arrive, Yi Linglan, Yi Lingyuan, Yi Xiaoyuan, Yi Xiaoyun and Gu Jun all bowed. Nodding, Night Sorrow brought the girls to light incense and candles. Then they bowed and said, Night Sorrow is here. I haven't gotten my revenge yet, but I'll work hard. Yi Clan's Yang Lei is here to burn incense for the ancestors. Yang Lei lit the incense and bowed. Yi Clan's Xianxia is here to burn incense for the ancestors. Xianxia bowed and inserted the incense into the cauldron. Awei blushed and lit the incense too. Yi Clan's Awei is here to burn incense for the ancestors. After the three girls finished, Yi Linglan and the others bowed to Yang Lei and the other two and called them young madam. At this moment, a few corpses were thrown in front of the cauldron. Then Yi Lingxia appeared. Since Night Moon has been rebuilt, we'll just kill all the small fries that come. Do they really think the people of Night Moon have no guts? Xianxia said coldly. These were the spies from the other factions that Xianxia had killed. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios Elder Linglan, bring more people to patrol in the future. If there are any suspicious people, take them down. Other places aside, Night Moon City, Wuyo City, and Wuimo City must not have any spies from other factions. Kill them all. If you can't kill them, send a signal and I'll kill them, Xianxia said. This subordinate understands. Linglan and the others bowed. Then Xianxia walked to Night Sorrow's side. In addition, this king will say that this is the young master of Night Moon and the current leader of Night Moon. Even this king is only an assistant. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. Linglan and the others bowed again. Then Xianxia announced the identities of Yang Lei and the other two. To the Yi clan, the young madam also had to be respected. Night Sorrow didn't refute because he had already decided to shoulder the responsibility of Night Moon. After chatting with Xianxia for a bit, Night Sorrow brought the three women back to Sky City. Although Night Moon is in a post-war state, it's not in a bad state. As long as there's a battle, its combat power won't be low, Yang Lei said. Because the faith is still there. Because Night Moon's glory is still there, Night Sorrow said with some emotion. Today he really did feel the high fighting spirit of Night Moon's people. After chatting for a while, Aoi went back to rest. Night Sorrow sent Aoi back to her loft. 13. Don't tire yourself out. When it's time to rest, you should rest, Aoi said to Night Sorrow as she turned around. 6th Senior Sister, give me a hug, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Aoi nodded and opened her arms to hug Night Sorrow. 6th Senior Sister, to me this hug is the last hug that belongs to a senior sister and junior brother, Night Sorrow said after hugging for a while. In front of Night Moon's monument, when Aoi mentioned the Night Clan's Aoi, Night Sorrow decided to change the way he interacted with Aoi. Because Aoi already had a position, he couldn't use the same way as before. After letting go of Night Sorrow, Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, in that case, I will also be your senior sister from now on. You still have to listen to me. Of course, senior sister, you know what I mean, Night Sorrow said. After glancing at Night Sorrow, Aoi quickly entered the loft. Her footsteps were a little hurried. She naturally knew that Night Sorrow had changed his attitude. He smiled at Aoi's back and returned to the main building. How was it? You didn't follow her in? Yang Lei smiled at Night Sorrow. How could I? I only said a few words to 6th Senior Sister. Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei speechlessly. 6th Senior Sister is gentle. She needs some time. Sikong Chuyu looked at Yang Lei and shook his head. That's true. 13, are you not going to cultivate tonight? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. If I wanted to cultivate, I would have left long ago. I'm resting tonight. Night Sorrow took off his outer robe and walked towards the bedroom. The two girls looked at each other and followed Night Sorrow into the bedroom. This was life, and to them, it was also cultivation. The three of them only rested after working for half the night. Chapter 660. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. After practicing his spear techniques for a while and stretching his body, Night Sorrow ate breakfast with the rest of the team. After eating, Night Sorrow did not go to the martial arts practice field. Instead, he went to the lake to practice. As for the practice with the god-slaying team, it was fine to do it in the afternoon. The days passed peacefully and steadily. The members of the god-slaying squad had not only increased their cultivation bases, but their combat power had also increased rapidly. Night Sorrow did not train with them anymore, as the main purpose of training was to give them pointers. When Night Sorrow came to the martial arts practice field again, Xuanhuan came back from outside. Leader, I found the target again. When are we going to do it? Once we found the target, we'll go and kill him directly. How long do we have to wait? Gather. Night Sorrow gave the order immediately. Following Night Sorrow's order, the members of the god-slaying team quickly gathered together. Night Sorrow looked at Aoi because Aoi was also in the team. Don't look at me. I want to fight. Aoi noticed Night Sorrow's gaze and said her thoughts directly. Okay. Night Senior Sister, pay attention. We'll set off now. Night Sorrow put away the ice silk pouch at his waist and waved his hand. Then, under Yunhuang's lead, the team arrived at a city in the Tianfeng dynasty. Night Sorrow, Yunhuang, and Ling Long, who took the lead, defeated the guards of the teleportation portal. Night Sorrow then arranged 2 groups of guards. I'll go to the city lord's mansion. The rest of you follow the old plan. Night Sorrow, this time it's a city lord who is a beginner honorable. How about letting me try? Xuanhuan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He also wanted to see if he had the ability to kill a honorable. Shueling Hojian, take care of our brothers. I don't want to see any casualties. Xuanhuan, let's go. Night Sorrow called out to Xuanhuan. The god-slaying team was much stronger than before, but the structure of the team had not changed. The vice-captains were still Shueling and Hojian. Even Xuanhuan and Ling Long, who had joined later, were much stronger than them in terms of cultivation. This was because of their leadership skills and ability to see the big picture. Ling Long's fighting strength was strong, but she had a rough personality and was not good at commanding and commanding. Xuanhuang's mind was meticulous, but his mind was not in this aspect. Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan rode their mounts towards the city lord's mansion. Night Sorrow flew while setting fire to the sky. Everywhere they passed, the sky was filled with flames. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Night Sorrow arrived at the city lord's residence. Just as the two of them arrived at the city lord's mansion, a middle-aged woman flew out from within. A group of small fries really came. This is my good luck. The woman's chi rose rapidly. After that, Night Sorrow could no longer see through her cultivation base. This woman hid her cultivation base and tricked us. She's a 5th level venerable. Xuanhuang's expression changed. He saw the woman's cultivation base. Her cultivation base rose from a 1st level venerable to a 5th level venerable in an instant. Don't worry. Go set fire to the mansion and kill as many as you can. Then retreat. You don't have to care about me. Night Sorrow straightened his back and held the reincarnation spear in his hand. After glaring at the woman, Xuanhuan dashed towards the city lord's mansion with his hell wolf. At this moment he discovered that there were no more high-level cultivators in the mansion. Xuanhuang's cultivation base was already at the peak void inquiry stage. Moreover, his lightning attribute was extremely violent. With the help of the ghost wolf, no one could stop him. The late void inquiry stage guards in front of the city lord's mansion were killed by him in just a few moves. The woman in black robes waved her hand and sent a ray of sword chi towards Xuanhuan. She was enraged when she saw Xuanhuan kill her guards. However, Night Sorrow's body flashed and arrived in front of the sword chi's path. He fired a few spear strikes continuously and neutralized the sword chi. Love go little say net, chew damn it. So what if my guards were killed? It's already a great merit for me to kill you. When you report to the netherworld, remember that the person who killed you is xianxia. The woman in black robes gritted her teeth and said, Are all the people of the Tianfeng dynasty good at talking? At that time, xianhuan also said the same thing. However, he was the one who died. Night Sorrow snorted coldly. Damn it. Hearing Night Sorrow mention xianhuan's name, xianxia was enraged because he was her elder cousin. The furious xianxia waved the long sword in her hand and sent out rays of sword chi towards Night Sorrow. She gritted her teeth and looked like she wanted to cut Night Sorrow into minced meat. Night Sorrow raised a spatial energy shield around his body and continuously dodged. Xianxua's sword energies all missed. This was the advantage brought about by speed. Just now, he took xianxua's sword chi head-on because Night Sorrow was worried that Xuanhuan would be injured. Now that he was thinking about defending and protecting himself, there was no need for him to do something that was strenuous and unrewarding. Seeing that Night Sorrow's speed was fast, xianxua increased the binding power of the Venerable Realm in order to control Night Sorrow's speed. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow's speed was reduced. However, the mutated energy shield could still cut through xianxua's binding power in an instant. This was the power of the spatial attribute. It could crush other ordinary attributes. xianxua's water attribute couldn't suppress Night Sorrow. Let's see how long you can jump. Unable to take down Night Sorrow, xianxua cursed bitterly and sped up to chase after Night Sorrow. First move, Night Sorrow didn't move in a straight line. His energy shield cut left and right, constantly dodging and not giving xianxua a chance to crush him head-on. Xuanhuan knew that Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure, so he went all out to kill. He directly rushed to the warehouse of the city lord's mansion and emptied the few resources there. The Tianfeng dynasty was smart. They didn't put too many resources in their subordinate cities. Most of them were transferred to the capital, Tianfeng City. After getting fewer resources, Xuanhuang's anger grew. He set fire to the warehouse while chasing after the guards of the city lord's mansion. He killed all of them who were rank 3 and above. Remember this. If you have the ability, hide the resources. If I can't get the resources, I'll kill them. As long as I kill all those above rank 3, I'll prepare enough resources for you if you don't want to die. Xuanhuan, who felt that he was at a disadvantage because he couldn't get the resources, shouted as he chased after the guards of the city lord's mansion. Retreat! Knight Sorrow shouted when he saw that the angry Chen Haofei had the intention to attack Xuanhuan. He then took the initiative to attack. He was worried that Chen Haofei would kill Xuanhuan. Knight Sorrow attacked crazily with his spear. Chen Haofei didn't attack Xuanhuan. Instead he started to attack Knight Sorrow. With the advantage of speed, Knight Sorrow wasn't in any danger of being injured. Damn it! You dare not leave us any resources? From today onwards, we won't only attack the city lord's mansion of the big cities. We'll also attack the small cities and towns. As long as they're rank 3 and above cultivators in the Tianfeng dynasty, I'll kill them all. Xuanhuan, who had left the city lord's mansion, shouted at Chen Haofei. Damn it! When I catch you, I'll tear you to pieces. Chen Haofei cursed angrily when she heard Xuanhuang's threat. However, under the constant harassment of Knight Sorrow, she didn't have the energy to chase after Xuanhuang. Chen Haofei was worried that if she chased after Xuanhuang, Knight Sorrow would run away. In her eyes, Knight Sorrow was the most valuable. Xuanhuang was just a small fry and wasn't that important. Chapter 661. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Knight Sorrow, who had made up his mind, ran in the opposite direction of the teleportation portal. He threw torches as he ran. No matter how the battle went, he had to achieve his goal of destroying the city first. Love, Gone Little, say, W. Chu Yishan's straight-line speed was not as fast as Chen Haofei's. After all, Chen Haofei's 5th level Venerate cultivation was real. However, Yishan's protective shield was in the same state as the polar moon wheel. It could cut in all directions and change directions at will. Chen Haofei could not block him and kill him. While running, Knight Sorrow also attacked some of the guards in the city. Every time the sky-piercing spear was launched, it would kill them. Xuanhuang returned to the teleportation portal and told them about the situation. He also told them about his suggestion, which was to destroy a small city. Is the captain in any danger? Xueling looked at Xuanhuang and asked. This was what everyone wanted to know. If Knight Sorrow was not in danger, they could focus on other things. I think so. Because the captain is fast, that guy's attacks almost all missed. If the captain wants to leave, she can't stop him, Xuanhuang said. Then let's teleport once first and then go to other small cities. Not leaving any resources. That's too despicable. Let's be despicable too, Hou Jian said. Then Hou Jian decided that Qin Zhen would stay to destroy the teleportation portal. The others would go elsewhere to fight. Yishang walked Chen Haofei like he was walking a dog. When he wasn't attacked by Chen Haofei, Yishang would occasionally set fire and kill the guards of the city lord's mansion. He wanted to bring harm to the Tianfeng dynasty. Knight Sorrow's actions angered Chen Haofei. She chased after Knight Sorrow and kept releasing sword energy. After an hour, the city was on fire. Most of the high-level buildings had been set on fire by Knight Sorrow. The streets were full of guards' corpses. They were all killed by Knight Sorrow's sky-piercing spear. Shameless thief, if I catch you in a while, I'll definitely make you beg for death. Chen Haofei was now extremely angry. Knight Sorrow was as slippery as a loach. Not to mention, under her eyes he continued to set fire and kill people. This was a slap in the face. Let's wait until you catch me. Knight Sorrow did not care about Chen Haofei's threat at all. If threats could kill people, then there was no need for them to cultivate. When he felt that it was about time, Knight Sorrow decided to run. He had already achieved his goal of destroying the city, and he couldn't kill a level 5 supremacy. Furthermore, he had used up a lot of his energy during this skirmish. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. So on the fighting power of a beginner supremacy and an intermediate supremacy were completely different. Previously, Knight Sorrow was able to defeat Jin Sun because of luck. Currently, Chen Haofei was using her sword qi to cut him, making it difficult for the spacetime pagoda to hit him. Knight Sorrow, who was planning to run, communicated with Shao Kong. When they reached the corner of a burning building, Knight Sorrow's body moved horizontally, leaving Chen Haofei's line of sight. He then entered the spacetime pagoda and smashed it into the ground. The Sikong pagoda's body shrunk to the size of a thumb. When it smashed into the ground, it was immediately covered by dust. You rascal, what you're doing is a little risky, Shao Kong muttered. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.ichuxs.com. It's fine. Even if she finds out, I'm not afraid. My speed is not inferior. At most, I'll just run again. Knight Sorrow did not care. With his speed, it was impossible for Chen Haofei to kill him. Chen Haofei chased after the corner of the building and was stunned. Because the target was gone. Night Sorrow had disappeared. "Little bastard, get out here for me. When I catch you, I'll chop you into pieces, castrate you and cook your body parts with wine." Qin Haofei scolded angrily. Hearing Qin Haofei's scolding, Night Sorrow felt a chill in his pants. This Qin Haofei was too ruthless. Night Sorrow believed that if he was caught, this Qin Haofei might do as he said. "A crazy woman is very scary," Shao Kong, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, muttered. Night Sorrow glanced at Shao Kong. Shao Kong was still young now, but she would also be a woman in the future. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow sat down to recover. Although he hadn't fought head-on during this period of time, Night Sorrow had still consumed a lot of energy. Now that he had the chance, he naturally had to recover. The situation outside was being monitored by Little Kong, so it was safe. Night Sorrow had calmed down, but Qin Haofei could not. Night Sorrow had disappeared in front of her eyes. If Night Sorrow had escaped, then the city would have been burned for nothing. The guards in the city would also have been killed for nothing. She would also be punished when she returned to the Tianfeng dynasty. At the same time, Qin Haofei also knew that Night Sorrow had not left. Instead, he was hiding because she had been using the spatial bind. Other than the area where Night Sorrow's protective energy shield was broken, there were not many spatial fluctuations in the other areas. Then Qin Haofei searched back and forth in the area where Night Sorrow had disappeared. She even stepped on the ground where the spacetime pagoda was hiding. This made Shao Kong very angry, but seeing that Night Sorrow was still recovering, she endured it. Qin Haofei searched back and forth for Night Sorrow, but to no avail. This made Qin Haofei very angry. She could not leave because she was very sure that Night Sorrow had not left. She also did not dare to remove the spatial bind of the Venerable Realm. She was afraid that Night Sorrow would really run away if she was not careful. She could only endure the consumption and keep searching. Xuanhuan and the others teleported away. After changing cities, they flew for a while and directly attacked small cities and towns. They stole resources and burned the city lord's mansion. They did not leave the small city lord and the town mayor behind. Every time they destroyed the city lord's mansion of a small city, Xuanhuan would leave behind a message. "Don't hide the resources that belong to us. If you hide them again, it won't just be burning the city lord's mansion and the town mayor's mansion." Feeling that it was about time, the god-slaying team retreated and found the nearest city with a teleportation array. They returned to Taiching City and then to the city in the sky. When they returned to the city in the sky and did not see Night Sorrow, Aoi was a little worried. "Ninth junior sister Chiyu, will 13 be fine? He won't be back so soon." After he ran away, he first had to find a city with a teleportation array. "This will take a long time. It will take a few days." Yang Lei poured a cup of water for Aoi and said, "Sixth senior sister, are you used to it?" Sikong Chiyu looked at Aoi and asked. Aoi did not kill anyone in this battle, but she severely injured a few people. Then the others took care of them. "It's okay. I'll slowly get used to it. Also, I stood there and did not move at first. They took the initiative to kill me." Aoi said, "This is a dog-eat-dog world. If you don't kill, they will kill you." Yang Lei lamented. Qin Haofei only needed 1 hour to recover. He used his soul power to probe the area outside the spacetime pagoda, searching for an opportunity to escape. However, Qin Haofei continued to patrol the area outside. He had no intention of leaving. "This crazy woman. She's going to waste her time." Night Sorrow took out a wine jar and took a sip. "Because she can be sure that you did not leave. After all, during the battle, her soul power covered this area," Shao Kong said. Night Sorrow planned to take action. If this continued, he would be too passive. He might as well continue to fight and look for an opportunity. Just as Night Sorrow was about to take action, Qin Haofei walked towards Night Sorrow. Then she took out a praying mat and sat cross-legged on top of the spacetime pagoda. Look at the chapters in the e-version. Chapter 662. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Originally he had wanted to fight as a kite. But this guy is courting death, so he can't blame anyone. Night Sorrow took out the reincarnation spear from his back and took a deep breath. With a shake of his arm, he executed the 7-star glorious moon spear and charged out of the spacetime treasure pagoda. Night Sorrow appeared right under the praying mat that Qin Haofei was sitting on. The reincarnation spear pierced through the praying mat and directly pierced between Qin Haofei's legs. It then pierced through his dantian and shattered his heart. Soon after, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear shook and sent Qin Haofei flying. After being sent flying by Night Sorrow, Qin Haofei barely managed to stabilize himself after landing on the ground. However, blood continued to flow down his thighs. Despicable. You stabbed me. Qin Haofei's face was pale. His life was not far away. Wouldn't it have been better if you had left earlier? Why did you have to catch and kill me? I didn't want to kill you either. You're just unlucky to be sitting in this damned place, Night Sorrow said coldly. Night Sorrow didn't want to kill Qin Haofei either, but he had no choice. Qin Haofei's seat was unlucky, and it was Night Sorrow's only chance. I'm not married yet. After saying this, Qin Haofei fell down. Night Sorrow shook his head and took Qin Haofei's storage ring and longsword. Then he rode Xianyu away from the battlefield. Love Gong Little say, Night Sorrow, your instant kill is really powerful. However, the position of the shot is a little inappropriate. Shao Kong's voice rang out in Night Sorrow's mind. You think I'm willing? She's sitting there and I have no other place to shoot. I can only shoot with my eyes closed, Night Sorrow said with some hesitation. But it's very powerful, killing with one spear. Shao Kong's voice carried a hint of a smile. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He took the map and flew to the nearest city with a teleportation circle. While flying, Night Sorrow opened Qin Haofei's storage ring. After taking a look, Night Sorrow discovered that there were no ordinary resources inside, which meant that there were no resources from the City Lord's mansion. Generally, the City Lord's mansion's resources were mostly ordinary resources below the 5th rank. Qin Haofei's storage ring was filled with high-quality resources, which were her personal collection. They were all high-grade crystal stones, and there were also 2 pieces of wind-attributed crystal stones. It took Night Sorrow 4 days to return to Sky City. When Night Sorrow arrived at the training ground, the members of the god-slaying team, who were in the midst of training, rapped on their breastplates to welcome his return. Love Gong Little Seika, I've thought about it. Massacring small cities and towns isn't a good idea. We're targeting the upper echelons of the various dynasties. There's no need to let others suffer the consequences of war, Night Sorrow said to the group. Alright, I've thought about it as well. It's indeed a little inappropriate. Xuanhuan nodded. Alright then. Everyone continue your training. Night Sorrow went to one side and sat down, taking out a teapot to make tea. Leader, how did you escape? A 5th grade venerable is not easy to deal with. Xuanhuan did not stand on ceremony. He just sat down and waited to drink some tea. Yang Lei and the other ladies also came over. They were also very interested in this matter. It was simply inconceivable for a void inquiry stage cultivator to escape from the pursuit of a 5th-level venerated realm expert. I just ran out like that. Night Sorrow lowered his head and sipped his tea. What do you mean by, just ran out like that? You didn't do anything? Ling Long looked at Night Sorrow with dissatisfaction. She wanted to hear what happened and use it as a reference. She also wanted to experience that soul-stirring experience. She's dead. However, my methods aren't very glorious. Everyone don't ask anymore. Night Sorrow sighed and said. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone was stunned. A 5th grade venerable is dead. She was killed by Night Sorrow. As for what Night Sorrow said after that, everyone chose to ignore it automatically. Glorious? What was glorious? Who wouldn't go all out to kill their opponent in a battle? Being able to kill their opponent was already a skill. Besides, how much was the difference in cultivation base between Night Sorrow and his opponent? As a matter of fact, if they were to face each other head-on, Night Sorrow would have no chance at all. However, Qin Haofei was unlucky enough to be sitting on top of the Time Pagoda. At this moment, Wu Lingfei walked over. When he saw her, Night Sorrow stood up and greeted her. Do you want to sit by the big lake for a while? Looking at Night Sorrow, Wu Lingfei asked. She had something to say to Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei left the training ground. Leader's mood doesn't seem right, Xueling said while looking at the backs of Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei. 13 has his own insistence. Perhaps he feels that he isn't a worthy opponent and feels that it's not glorious. He feels that something is lacking. Yang Lei said. That's probably why Auntie Fei wants to talk to Night Sorrow. Sikong Chiu said. When they reached the wooden boat, Wu Lingfei personally brewed tea and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. Auntie Fei heard what you said. You can't tell others but tell Auntie Fei. Night Sorrow nodded and told her about the battle with Qin Haofei. You feel that it's not glorious? There are many factors that determine the outcome of a battle. As long as you can win, everything else doesn't matter. As for the move you used to kill Qin Haofei, that was because she was careless. She wasn't alert enough. Who can you blame for that? Did you think that if you turned your back on the enemy wouldn't attack you? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and frowned. But the position of the spear was too bad. Night Sorrow said with a bitter smile. She was just unlucky. It's nothing. She is a level 5 venerable. She doesn't care about her face to deal with you. What other moves can't you use? You're not allowed to have any more disgraceful thoughts. Auntie Fei thinks that you're a good person. Wu Lingfei gave Night Sorrow a white thumb. Translator, Atlas Studios editor. Atlas Studios. Auntie Fei, let's drink? Hearing Auntie Fei's words, my heart is a lot clearer. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Sure. Auntie Fei will drink with you to our heart's content today. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Auntie Fei, Night Sorrow is very grateful. Every time I am confused, you always give me ideas. If I didn't meet Auntie Fei, I don't know what I would be like right now. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and poured 2 bowls for himself and Wu Lingfei, then stood up and said, You don't have to be so polite with Auntie Fei. Auntie Fei doesn't like it because you help Auntie Fei more. Wu Lingfei waved her hand and let Night Sorrow sit down. Then the two chatted casually. Night Sorrow also asked Wu Lingfei for her opinion on the current situation. Wu Lingfei felt that the other dynasties were in a very bad situation. They didn't want to see Night Moon rise. However, without a saint, it was inconvenient for them to fight. They could only accept the current situation. This was because if anyone attacked Night Moon, Yun Tianlong would attack. He was a true unrivaled venerable. No one could ignore him. Moreover, if there was a war, xianxia would also attack. Xianxia couldn't stop the enemy's attack, but he could stop the enemy's killing. With all these factors combined, the overall situation should be stable. Back then, Tianfeng dynasty instigated the other dynasties to attack because Saint Xuanhuan promised to help. Chapter 663. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. After chatting for a while, Wu Lingfei saw that Night Sorrow had returned to normal. Wu Lingfei gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up and left. Night Sorrow thought for a while and felt that it was nothing. Qin Haofei was a level 5 supremacy and had no bottom line when attacking him. He would not go overboard no matter how he fought. As long as he could kill his opponent, it would be a good move. 86. Head? Air. Night Sorrow continued to train his speed and the combination of speed and spear skills. This time Night Sorrow felt the benefits of speed. The last time Yi Shang had fought Jin Sun, he had been in an extremely difficult situation. It could even be said that he had struggled on the verge of death. But this time it was different. Yi Shang was fighting with ease. He could protect himself. With the origin spiritual liquid, Yi Shang did not need to worry about consumption. He could even escape while fighting. Of course, Night Sorrow was able to kill Qin Haofei by accident. Night Sorrow cultivated until the sky turned dark. Then he packed up and returned to his mansion. We have been waiting for you for a while. If you didn't come, we would have gone to look for you. Yang Lei said. You don't have to wait for me in the future. I am not punctual. Night Sorrow sat down and said. You have a family. You have to think about your family. Also, if we go out and kill like this, it will be easy for us to be tricked. Xikong Chiyu said. But they can't just set traps everywhere. The Tianfeng dynasty is not easy to fight. Let's take turns with the Earth Dynasty, Golden Dragon King Dynasty, 7-Star Dynasty, Red Leaf Dynasty, and Green Nether Dynasty. They won't be able to rest. Night Sorrow said. We still have to investigate carefully. If the trap is too big, it is easy to fall in and not come out. Alway reminded Night Sorrow. That's right. They've been dealt a heavy blow. Even high-level venerables might have gone to bury them. If we run into them, we'll be done for. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that they really couldn't afford to make any mistakes. If they really encountered a high-level venerable, the consequences would be total annihilation. After having dinner with the 3 girls and chatting for a while, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. This guy finally listened to my advice for once, but he's still as hardworking as ever. Looking at Night Sorrow's secret training room, Yang Lei sighed. Let's talk to him another day. Always said after thinking for a while. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow arrived at the training grounds and found a vine. It's been a while since the last time I gave you pointers. Let's see if you've made any progress. Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, the god-slaying squad began to spar with Night Sorrow. In the end, they were still beaten up. Everyone had worked very hard in their training, and their weaknesses were already very few. However, Night Sorrow had the ability to find loopholes in their defenses. Ling Long and Yun Huang were no exception. They were also hit by the vines. Leader, I still can't hold on. What's going on? Yun Huang said with a depressed tone. He brought Ling Long, Xikong Chiyu, and Yang Lei to fight against Night Sorrow, who was at the 6th Void Inquiry stage. However, he still got hit by the vines. Your changes are very obvious. However, every time you change the direction of attack and defense, your body becomes a little stiff. It's not smooth and perfect enough. There are loopholes in between. These loopholes are fatal. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. After that, Night Sorrow helped Aoi Yanglei and Sikong Chuyu apply ointment on their wounds. 13. It's really painful. Aoi rubbed her leg and said, "Sixth senior sister, if you can't handle it, you shouldn't participate in this kind of training." Night Sorrow said with heartache. "No. I still want to cultivate." Aoi shook her head. "Chuyu, are you alright?" Night Sorrow then looked at Sikong Chuyu. "I'm fine. My body is special. Being hit by the vines is a little painful, but it's not really a serious injury." Sikong Chuyu shook his head. "Ninth senior sister, your arm shouldn't be a big problem as well." Night Sorrow said, It's painful. You really hit me." Yang Lei gave Night Sorrow a glance and said, "I'll pay attention next time. Actually, I just want you to know your weaknesses." Night Sorrow really felt heartache when he looked at the three ladies. After that, Night Sorrow brought the three ladies to the big lake to rest and relax. He asked Xianyu to catch a few big fishes and roast them. "Why hasn't this silver fox broken through yet?" Yang Lei asked when she saw Night Sorrow feeding the silver fox. "The higher one's innate talent is, the harder it will be for them to break through. I guess they are doing some accumulation." Night Sorrow said. After eating the roasted fish, the three ladies made tea for them. Night Sorrow continued to study his speed. He cultivated his speed until it was incomparably smooth. After cultivating for a while, when Night Sorrow was drinking tea, the three ladies also asked Night Sorrow how to improve his speed. It was because Night Sorrow's speed was too fast. When he flew back and forth, it was like an afterimage. Night Sorrow did not hide anything from the three ladies. He hoped that they could improve their strength. Hence, he told them about his understanding and comprehension of speed. After that, the three ladies began to cultivate their movement techniques. Night Sorrow did not stop cultivating as well. He was constantly strengthening his combat techniques. Currently, Night Sorrow's true chi was in the settling cultivation stage. His true chi cultivation was not far from the peak of the void inquiry stage. He just needed to cultivate naturally. Only then would his cultivation base be solid and there would not be any problems when he breaks through. As for his soul power and innate bloodline power, Night Sorrow cultivated them with the help of the time and space pagoda. The cultivation base of the Myriad Dao treasure tome was improved when he went into seclusion at night. After having dinner, Night Sorrow sent Aoi off and returned to the main building. He did not cultivate because it had been a while since he accompanied Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. To Night Sorrow, being with the two ladies was like living. To the two ladies it was cultivation. The three of them only stopped fighting after midnight. The two ladies were covered in sweat. "I've imparted the harmony cultivation technique to sixth senior sister. However, I don't know how long it will take for her to master it. It's beneficial to her cultivation base, especially her body." While chatting with Night Sorrow, Yang Lei put on her gauze robe and sat in meditation to refine the yang qi that Night Sorrow left behind. It was the same for Sikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow also took the black turtle spirit crystal and began to cultivate. While improving his soul power and innate bloodline power, he was also trying to break through to the 8th level of the Myriad Dao treasure tome. Because of the abundant resources and a good foundation, Night Sorrow's cultivation base of the Myriad Dao treasure tome improved rapidly. When they woke up in the morning for breakfast, xianxia came and told Night Sorrow about the situation in the Sea of Night Moon. After receiving Night Sorrow's resources, mainly the life spirit fluid, the experts of the Yi clan had all entered seclusion. As time passed, the cultivation base of the Yi clan members would increase greatly. However, when the Yi clan members could return depended on when xuanhuan became a saint. In addition, Night Sorrow's father, Prince Wuyo, was also trying to comprehend the laws. "My father is so powerful?" Night Sorrow looked at xianxia in surprise. Chapter 664. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Very good. As long as my parents are doing well, I'm not worried about that. Baidu searched Love Gong Xiao Shua www.ichuxs.com, Night Sorrow said. In addition, your younger sister Yin Xiao is also a very good seedling. She's 11 this year and has already reached the peak stage of element gathering realm. If you hadn't appeared, she would have been Night Moon's future successor. Xianxia also explained the situation of Night Sorrow's younger sister. This has nothing to do with whether I appear or not. She is still the heir. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He would not fight with his sister for anything. Your attitude is very good. This is also the best tradition of our Night Moon dynasty. In the past years, our Night Moon dynasty has never had any power struggles. Unity has always been the core theme. However, you are the young master. This is something that no one can and will not change. Moreover, your talent has surpassed all the ancestors of the Night Moon Dynasty. This is something that all the core members of the Night Moon Dynasty pay attention to. Yiling smiled wickedly as he spoke. He admired Yishan more and more. Yiling looked at Yishan with an evil smile. Night Sorrow nodded. Actually, he didn't really care about these things. He just did what he had to do. There's one more thing. When you have time, you can go to Bayou City to take a look. That's where my mother's clan is. They're also your family, said Xianxia. Night Sorrow lowered his head and pondered for a moment before shaking his head. He didn't intend to go. He had already been targeted by a few great dynasties. If he went to Bayou City, it would be equivalent to bringing trouble to them. Night Sorrow didn't want to do such a thing. Love Gone Little Seika, it's up to you. Bayou City isn't big, but it's completely under the control of the Yu clan. Back then, something happened to Night Moon too suddenly. They didn't have time to provide support, but we are definitely Night Moon's allies, said Xianxia. He didn't want Night Sorrow to have an opinion of Bayou City. I'll leave it to you, sixth uncle. As for the rest, we'll talk about it when my parents come back, Night Sorrow said. Xianxia nodded. He had thought about some things and guessed that Night Sorrow wouldn't go. After all, Night Sorrow wasn't the kind of person to drag others down with him. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, Xianxia left. He told Night Sorrow that he would be overseeing Night Moon City. If Night Sorrow had something to do, he could go over. In the following days, Night Sorrow cultivated peacefully. In addition, he had also received some news that the other dynasties were restless and were slowly advancing towards the Night Moon Dynasty. Conflicts were often occurring. However, these were all battles between supremacies and below, so they were considered small conflicts. Such a situation made Night Sorrow realize that it had been a while since he'd attacked the dynasties. They were being restless again. Without telling the god-slaying team and the girls, Night Sorrow left and rushed towards the territory of the Red Leaves Dynasty, which was the most active. The Red Leaves Dynasty was the most active. Night Sorrow was going to start a massacre in the heart of the Red Leaves Dynasty. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid if there was a trap. If there was a trap, he'd just run. If there wasn't a trap, he'd start a massacre. Night Sorrow also entered the city to investigate first. He only attacked when he didn't find any experts that he couldn't handle. In fact, with so many cities in a dynasty, how many supremacies could defend them? Beginner supremacies were easy prey. Night Sorrow destroyed 2 city lord mansions on his own without receiving any news from the city in the sky. Read the original chapter, Lurg on Sea. Night Sorrow's strategy was different for solo battles and team battles. Every time he finished investigating and felt that it was time to attack, Night Sorrow would first destroy the teleportation formation. Then he would ride his mount to the city lord mansion to kill the city lord. After killing the city lord, robbing the resources of the city lord mansion, and leaving behind a note, Night Sorrow would ride on Xianhu and fly around the city. He would set fire to the buildings that belonged to the city lord mansion and turn the city into a mess. Night Sorrow would only leave. Night Sorrow was a small target. This made it difficult for the opponent to defend. After half a month, Night Sorrow had destroyed 4 cities in the Red Leaves Dynasty. This was because Night Sorrow spent most of his time traveling. However, the city in the sky also received the news at this time. This made Yunhuang, Linglong, Hojian, and Xueling very anxious and angry. You can't be angry. Night Sorrow is worried that the opponent will dig a big hole and use high-level supremacies to ambush us. If that happens, our god-slaying team will be wiped out. Yang Lei told them the result of their previous analysis. Sigh. Captain is still worried about us because we're not strong enough. Yunhuang sighed. Actually, Captain's worry is reasonable. Even if we succeed every time we go out and kill them 10 times, what about the 11th time? As long as we encounter a deep hole, our god-slaying team will be wiped out, Linglong said. The others didn't say anything because this was the truth. Shaking his head helplessly, Yunhuang went to cultivate. Not being able to help Night Sorrow made him feel very helpless. The massacre of several cities shook the Red Leaves Dynasty. As long as one wasn't an idiot, one would know why. It was because the Red Leaves Dynasty's troops had attacked the Night Moon Dynasty. Although the Red Leaves Dynasty was unwilling, they still withdrew their troops from the border. If they didn't return, they wouldn't have enough people and couldn't defend the cities. The Red Leaves Dynasty became obedient. Night Sorrow changed his target to the Seven Stars Dynasty and continued to kill the cities of the Seven Stars Dynasty. In the underground hall of Tianji Tower, a group of higher-ups was chatting. Lin Yuandao also showed the secret letter in his hand to everyone. This guy is a little crazy. He's giving the 5 dynasties a headache. Hua said. You can't say that he's crazy. He's smart and brave. He changed the situation by himself and put the 5 dynasties in a passive position. He's a genius, Xianxia said. I'm worried about his safety. It's too dangerous if this goes on, Hua said. For the sake of Night Moon's safety, he used the method of killing to stop killing. At present, this is also the most effective method. This guy hides his strength deeply and kills ruthlessly. Anyone who has an enemy like him will feel dizzy. With his reputation, if it isn't necessary, no one will be willing to provoke such a person, Xianxia said. Hua nodded. No matter what kind of force it is, they would be afraid of a crazy opponent like Night Sorrow. They would never have a day of peace. This guy is really something. You guys have read the information. That Jin Sun was a 6th level venerable. One of his hands was crippled by him. Qin Haofei, who was a 5th level venerable, was also killed by him. This is really something. In the past, there has never been such a ruthless void inquiry stage cultivator. Lin Yuandao looked at Xianxia and said, Yes. If nothing goes wrong, he will definitely grow to the unrivaled venerable realm. Xianxia said. She didn't know much about Night Sorrow in the past. Now she also understood a lot about him. As long as he can endure until the members of the Night Clan return, his own safety will no longer be a problem. Besides, the overall situation will also change. Lin Yuandao said. He really hoped that Night Sorrow could hold on. On Night Sorrow's side, he didn't care about what other people were talking about. He just started killing in the 7-star dynasty. In the main hall of the 7-star dynasty, a group of people was having a discussion. Grandpa, I want to fight. This guy is too arrogant. He really thinks that he's a big shot. He thinks that he can change the situation by himself. I must kill him. A woman stood up and said.